Fox Sports.
We are Fox Sports. We are Ohio.
In 2013, the Indians claimed one of the AL wildcard spots. Last season, Kansas City rode that wild card all the way to Game 7 of the World Series, eventually falling to the Giants.
This season, the two teams may be fighting all the way into October to see who takes the Central Division title.
It's the Tribe's first look at the Royals in Cactus League action, and it's
next on Sports Time Ohio.
Desert poppies are in full bloom among the cactus here in the great Southwest. Goodyear, Arizona. Today, the Cleveland Indians take on their rivals from the Central Division, the Kansas City Royals. Hi again, everyone. Matt Underwood alongside Rick Manning. Another beautiful day here in Arizona. And the Indians and Royals will get their fill of each other by the time the regular season is over. They'll meet 19 times, but today just a friendly exhibition contest. And Kansas City and Cleveland, you figure they're going to be battling head-to-head all season long for the Central Division title.
It should be no different than what it was last year. The Indians beat the Royals 10 times, and the Royals beat the Indians 9 times. It was solid baseball. The Royals, a team built on pitching, solid defense. They have a running game. Their home run ball is not there. They were last in the league in home runs, but the Indians built pretty much the same way. They need solid pitching, good defense, and timely hitting like anybody. They don't run like the Royals. They were #1 in the league, and they're an exciting team to watch. They keep the pressure on the defense.
Ned Yost is already the longest tenured manager in Kansas City Royals history. He needs just 38 wins now to become the winningest manager all time in Kansas City Royals. Ready for action here in Goodyear. Our game time temperature will be right around 85 degrees as left-hander Nick Miranda gets the start today for the Indians. Take a look at the Kansas City Royals starting lineup under manager Ned Yost. Alcides Escobar at the top last season, hit .338 against the Tribe. Gerard Dyson, the speedster, in center field, bats second. Then Omar Infante, playing in just his second game of the spring, will DH, batting third. Then it's Salvador Perez, Moises Sierra, Paul Orlando, Matt Fields, Christian Colon, and Ryan Jackson.
Left-hander Nick Miranda on the mound for the Indians, getting the start this afternoon. And we have seen him come out of the bullpen, but look at it last year with the Angels, 11 games, 1279. He had a tough year last year. He was acquired from the Angels on July 12th of last year, so they're getting a look at him now. His first look at the Kansas City Royals.
There is Ned Yost, who piloted Kansas City to the American League pennant last year. Game 7 of the World Series, where ultimately they were beaten by San Francisco. We're underway. Pitch low and away. Ball 1 to Alcides Escobar, who so far on the spring has gone 4 for 12 at the plate. In the air to right field. Back goes Ryan Rayburn. One down here in the first.
Let's set that Indians defense for you this afternoon. It looks like this in the outfield from left to right. It's going to be Holt, Bourne, and Rayburn. On the infield, third to first, Aviles, Ramirez, Walters, and Santana, with Perez behind the plate.
Dyson squared around to bunt, but took the pitch a little bit outside, ball 1.
You have to respect the speed of this guy. Gerard Dyson, he can bunt, very good bunter. He utilizes his wheels very well, as a lot of the Kansas City Royals do.
You see sneaking in at third base, Mike Aviles. He's in on the grass. Carlos Santana at the cut of the grass over near first. Dyson taking, and it's 2-1.
The Royals ended a 28-year drought to get to the postseason last year, and what a ride they had.
Swing and a miss to even the count. Their lack of power, or at least their perceived lack of power, was thought to be a real detriment to their postseason hopes. But they started to swing the bats and hit for power as the season wore on last year. And Terry Francona told me today, remember, it was against us. Billy Butler didn't have a home run, and he said, we got him going. And Kansas City started finding their power stroke. And you think in the playoffs, every time you turn around, they were hitting a home run. Moustakas, Hosmer, they were going deep.
They got hot at the right time.
Yeah.
But what got them there was their stolen bases and the aggressiveness. They had 153 steals with an 81% success rate, stealing bases. So they kept the pressure on the defense. And you know, when you get into a close game and pitchers try to pitch out or watch or throw over, it may distract them a little bit, and the hitters took advantage of it. They got some pitches they could handle and hit them out of the ballpark.
Morande with a 2-2. Breaking ball, got him looking. 2 down here in the first. Anthony Johnson calling the balls and strikes here this afternoon. On the bases, you'll see Tony Randazzo, Corey Blazer, and Jordan Baker alternating bases throughout the contest. Omar Infante DHing here this afternoon. Strike over the outside corner. Nick Miranda is an interesting guy in that at 25 years old, he got up to the big leagues in just his second professional season with the Angels. Had some initial success, struggled last year mightily, and was traded to Cleveland for a player to be named, and now trying to make a name for himself in an Indians uniform. Royals go 1-2-3, Indians coming to bat. Bottom of the first, let's take a look at the Indians starting lineup today for manager Terry Francona. Michael Bourn at the top, followed by Jose Ramirez. Ryan Rayburn bats third. Then it's Carlos Santana, Mike Aviles, and Zach Walters. Jesus Aguilar will DH. Tyler Holt batting eighth. And backup catcher Roberto Perez gets the start, batting ninth and sizzling this spring.
Danny Duffy, the left-hander, gets the start for the Royals this afternoon. He was 9-12 and a brilliant 253 earned run average. He wasn't blessed with good run support last year, but he only pitched 149 in the third innings. He started out in the bullpen, came on to make 25 starts for the Royals. But a good arm, a 94-mile-an-hour fastball, has a good curveball as well. Sometimes his fastball can be a bit straight, but he can get it up there and he can rush it.
Duffy ready to deal as Michael Bourn steps in. Bourn swinging the bat very well on the spring. He is 5 for 10 at the plate. Takes the first pitch, strike. Bourn feels healthy from the season ago in which he had a couple of stints on the DL. You saw there was limited when he did get on base. Wasn't able to really turn it loose with the hamstring lingering problems. But this year, all that seems to be in the past for him.
Well, we saw him get an infield hit on Tuesday where he had to run it out. Looked good going down the line, getting that base hit. Topped one down the third baseline and ended up beating the throw.
A ball and 2 strikes. Out of play. Kansas City, as we talked about, got to the World Series primarily because of their defense, their speed, their athleticism. You know, in pro sports is such a copycat business that if someone has success, everybody else tries to emulate that. But Terry Francona says while he respects Kansas City and their abilities, he said you can't just force your team to become like Kansas City if you don't have those types of people. In other words, if you don't have fast guys, you can't just turn them loose on the base paths or you're going to run yourself out of a lot of innings.
No, that's how Kansas City was built. You know, they've got some very good defenders out there. And, you know, running the bases. I mean, you look at Dyson in center field. Here's a guy that, I mean, he's old school, back in the 70s and 80s kind of baseball. You know, but do you have an outfielder like that? Or you want guys that can hit home runs? They play in a big ballpark, so they need more speed. When you look at Kansas City, they lack the home run depth, and it's a tough ballpark to hit homers in.
2-2 yanked to right field, coming hard but won't get there as Moises Sierra, and the ball skips by him. Bourn off to the races around second. Stutter step through the bag. He'll glide into third base with what could be a leadoff triple, might be a single and an error. That'll be up to the official score. I'm not sure Rick Sierra ever got a glove on the ball.
He just misplayed the ball. It should be a single and a 2-base error, but it doesn't matter what they give him because if you know you can't catch the ball, it's a leadoff hitter, you give up the single. You don't let that ball bounce over your head. He let that ball play him in the outfield. He thought he was going to catch it. And you can see Bourn, he knows he's got the triple or going into third easily.
And so it will be a single and a 2-base error.
I mean, that's the proper call. He just misplayed the ball. You give the single, you never give up an extra base, especially to the leadoff hitter.
Now here's Jose Ramirez. Infield back. Ball's in the dirt, blocked nicely by Salvador Perez.
Well, he's like an L screen back there behind home plate. He can block anything and everything as big as Perez is. He did a wonderful job at that last year. Very big guy, and he gets a body on the baseball. Saved him a run right there.
Ball 2 is Ramirez checked on a pitch that was low and out of the strike zone. Perez is some kind of durable too. You think about all the innings, the wear and tear that a catcher takes just in general.
Well, he played a number of games. He caught more innings than anybody last year. He caught 1,249 innings, played in 143 games for the Royals last year behind the dish. And I mean, he's everyday guy. He doesn't get time off.
Duffy deals. And Ramirez takes.
Pretty good pitch.
Close, but no call. 3-1. Bourne leading away in foul ground with the infield back. And Ramirez bangs it to third base.
There you go.
That'll get the run home. Ramirez retired on the play. Picks up his third RBI on the spring as the Indians jump out to a 1-0 lead here in the first.
And you can see it took just a routine ground ball out to get that run home. That was the mistake made by Sierra in right field. So the Indians play from in front.
Well, and yesterday, a similar situation. The Indians got a leadoff triple in the second inning of that game against the Oakland A's from Brandon Moss. Didn't get him home. You get a little pop up on the infield, a walk, a double play ball. So as you say, Rick, sometimes if the infield's back, it's a free at bat. Get the RBI. I mean, sometimes easier said than done. You're not going to succeed every time.
No, nobody's going to do it every time. But that's the thing that managers, coaching staffs, they look for. The fundamental things. Let's do it right. Get it started in the right direction. There are going to be times that you don't get them home. It's frustrating.
Ryan Rayburn swinging the bat well here in Cactus League play, hitting it a 308 clip. A couple of runs batted in. Most important thing, Ryan Rayburn's a veteran. You want to see him healthy and ready to go at the end of camp. And last year he was having a very good camp, but he suffered an injury when he ran into the wall, and it just had a trickle-down effect for him all season long.
Yeah, last year was one of those years. The year before he was on fire. With the number of at-bats he had, the home runs he hit, everything he squared up. Last year it seemed like he was fouling everything off and missing everything that he hit the year before, and that's how baseball can work sometimes. But I'll tell you right now, it looks like a small strike zone today for Anthony Johnson behind the plate. He's making some pretty good pitches right here that aren't getting called.
The 3-1 pitch. And Rayburn drives it to right field. That's over the head of Sierra. It'll go to the wall. And into second base, maybe. Rayburn stumbled and went down, and he just does get to the bag in time.
I didn't see what happened. I was sort of watching.
Lost his footing, Rick. He didn't. I don't think anything particularly.
He drives it the other way, hits it well into right center field, gets it over the head of Sierra. I was watching him going to get the ball. He gets it quickly, and Rayburn just seemed to fall down. But he's able to get up and just get that foot in before they tag him. Yeah, caught a toe.
So he's in scoring position with one out, as I'm sure his teammates will not let him soon forget that.
Absolutely not. They'll be on him for something. Justice, how about yesterday? We were gone the day before we did Tuesday's game. Bauer gave up those 3 home runs. And what they have for him? A policeman came into the clubhouse yesterday morning.
Terry Francona was behind it.
Yeah, I know. It was beautiful.
Police officer came in and told the team, we had a traffic disturbance yesterday, the day before. And
at 2:20, 2:21, and 2:22. There
were baseballs flying into traffic, causing a stir, and he went over to Trevor Bauer with 3 baseballs and said, I believe these belong to you. And Terry said, it was a great moment. Everybody had a big laugh. He said, I'm not sure we could have done that with Trevor a year ago. But he's so much more comfortable with where he's at and in his own skin. And I think that's why Rick Francona is so good at what he does. He takes what potentially could be a tough situation, turns it into something that, hey, you just let it go.
You got to like it. And you know what? They're not going to let that fall right there by Rayburn get away. So that was the point.
That's right. I still remember when we were in Tampa. Was it Tampa Bay? Wasn't it Dyson who ran into the center field wall?
Yes,
and
it was.
And they put the chalk outline of him?
Yeah, out in center field. He made a catch. He made the catch. It was a tremendous catch.
The next day we showed up, and
white tape.
They took tape like a chalk outline.
Like
on
it was his body. Yeah. CSI crime scene.
Right. 2-2 pitch to Carlos Santana. A little jam job towards second base. Duffy's got to hurry to get over, and he missed the bag. So Santana's safe at first. Rayburn goes to third. Duffy, because of the way the play developed, he was late getting over. The throw was a little bit behind him. He had to look for the ball, couldn't see where the bag was with his foot.
Well, he gets inside, he gets jammed, but it looked like he got over there. Let's see his path going to first base. He wasn't able to look back and pick up first base because the ball was not hit that hard, so he had to keep his eye on the first baseman, Fields, who was going to flip him the baseball. He never really got in line to step on the base or really take a peek and see where the base was. He got deep into the kitchen of Santana there.
Now Mike Aviles takes a look at a ball down low. You know, and that's one of those plays, too, for a first baseman where he might have been better served to let the second baseman take the play and just go back to the bag himself. Aviles trying to bloop one in, but Colon makes the catch. 2 away.
If that pitch is a cutter right there, it certainly looks like it because he was able to get inside on Santana and now Aviles. Let's check the Royals defense behind Duffy this afternoon. It's Orlando in left, Dyson in center, Sierra is in right, Jackson is at third, Escobar at short, Colon at second, Fields at first, Perez doing the catching.
Here is Zach Walters. Switch hitter with power. Swing and a miss. Walters playing today at second base. We have seen him literally all over the diamond this spring.
Yeah, they want to turn him into a guy just like a Mike Aviles, play as many different positions as you can. Enhances your talent. Terry Francona, who likes to go with more pitchers, so the more positions you can play, the better off you are.
Terry says, I think it's the best way for Walters to compete right now. He said it's hard for guys to be dependable at different positions, and that's the key. You want to be dependable no matter where they put you. But he said with Walters, he's been working at multiple positions every day. And look, it all comes back to this. If you've got a guy like Walters who can hit the ball out of the park, you tend to find a place for him to play.
And the more places he can play will dictate how many at-bats he gets. You know what I'm saying? It's like Aviles last year. Aviles can play short, third. He's filled in at second. He'll play any outfield position. So he ends up getting more at-bats when guys need days off. Exactly what they want to do with Zach Walters. Yes, he did.
They appeal. Okay. He did not go around, says like the first base umpire.
Take a look at it from the side. From behind, it looked like he went. I'm surprised they don't call that in spring training. But he gets a break.
1 ball, 2 strikes the count for Walters, who has gone 2 for 10 at the plate here in spring action with a double. Snap throw to first. Santana able to get back with a dive. A very small strike zone today.
Well, he was walking off the mound. Duffy was taking a step into the dugout thinking he had a pitch there, but he's not giving him the low pitch. So Duffy says, then I'm going to go upstairs. He gets a breaking ball, and I think that's a little high, but, you know, if you're not getting the low pitch, you figure you're going to get something upstairs. He didn't.
The 2-2. Missed up again. Full count. Duffy, maybe, even though it's spring training, he does appear to be maybe a tad frustrated.
Well, he has 30 pitches already in the first inning. And, you know, you start out early, he's probably on a 45 pitch level. Pitch mark.
Payoff pitch. Santana takes off. Walters sends a towering fly ball to center field. Dyson camps under it. The inning is over. Indians get on the board first. A run on 3 hits, 2 men left. 1-0 Cleveland after an inning.
Live Indians baseball was back in 2015 with the MLB.com at bat on your smartphone or your tablet. Stay connected with live radio, broadcast, stats, breaking news, and more. Download MLB.com at bat, the #1 app for live baseball.
A lot of cloud cover today. Actually moved in yesterday. And it stayed warm overnight. A lot of times the temperature, it will cool down in the evening. Not last night, and it's been warm and almost muggy today.
You want the sun to stay in. It's nice to play out here in a game where you can look up into the sky and there's clouds and you can pick up the baseball and not have to battle with the sunshine. It's a rarity.
Salvador Perez looks at ball 1 outside from Nick Miranda. Left-hander set him down 1-2-3 in the first inning.
This is a guy that is a very aggressive hitter. Not many pitches he doesn't like or he does not go after. Very aggressive hitter. First time I think I've ever seen him take 3 in a row.
Well, he doesn't have a walk yet this spring, and he's just 1 for 14.
Well, as being that everyday catcher, this is a good time for him to just get an idea and look at pitches. A lot of everyday players like to see as many pitches as they can early in a spring training game or at bats.
Diving stop by Ramirez, but it kicks out of his glove, and then Perez is going to be safe at first.
Yeah, he's one of those guys, he can't run real well as a catcher. If Ramirez catches it cleanly, he might have had a play, but not able to hold on to it, so it gets out of his glove, and it'll be a base hit for Perez. Got to the baseball, just couldn't catch it.
So a leadoff infield single for Kansas City brings up Moises Sierra. Sierra began his big league career with the Toronto Blue Jays, then went to Chicago briefly, and now trying to hitch on with Kansas City. One ball, one strike. Miranda out of the stretch delivers a swing and a miss, and it's 1-2. Nick Miranda features a fastball and a slider primarily. He does have a changeup that he will use on occasion, but primarily fastball, slider. The key for him, according to pitching coach Mickey Callaway, is being able to command it and keep it down in the strike zone.
Boy, how many times do we hear that? Command it, command your pitches.
Yeah.
Keep it in the strike zone, move it around, and change speeds.
His breaking ball, his slider, has similar break to the one that we see from left-hander T.J. House because of his arm angle.
Well, the thing of it is for Miranda, they rushed him to the big leagues, and I think they ended up using him as a matchup guy. You know, and he was a starter, and if you can fall in love with that breaking ball just trying to get left-handed hitters out, and you can lose a lot.
Aviles to second base. Walters on the first, low throw, dug out by Santana. It's a double play.
Just what the doctor ordered. See Walters on the turn. It looked like it was going to be low, but it was right there. It just short hop Santana at the end. Aviles gives a good feed. Walters there. You'll see the throw, and not bad. You get the double play.
Aviles, when you watch him just take ground balls and work on infield drills, he's got some of the quickest hands on his team. Ground ball the other way, and it's through. Paul Orlando with the Royals' second hit of the inning. Orlando at 6'5" is a big dude. Actually, I got to look that up. The guy at the plate now is 6'5", and that's Matt Fields. Where does Orlando?
Well, he looks like he's up there too. He's towering over Santana.
Oh, he's just a 6'2" guy. Matt Fields, 1 for 6 on the spring. Fields is a Seattle baseball product. Graduated from Rainier Beach High School in Seattle, Washington. Was originally a 44th round pick back in 2004. He was a draft and follow by Tampa Bay. His dad, a former professional basketball player who was a draft pick of the Portland Trail Blazers back in 1979. But for Matt Fields, he's still waiting to make that leap to the big leagues. He spent his entire career this far in the minors. Last year hit .262 at Omaha for Kansas City. 28 homers, 81 ribbies. The year before hit 31 homers, drove in 87, so he's starting to show some power potential.
Going to be hard to replace, though. Eric Hosmer.
Swing and a miss, yeah. That's called being roadblocked, isn't it?
Yeah, you've got a guy right there in front of you. I mean, who's a solid defender. And, you know, they've been waiting for Hosmer his bat to pick up as far as offense goes and power numbers, but he's a pretty solid player.
Royals added Kenry Morales in the offseason. Down on the right side, out of play. Billy Butler, the longtime Royals DH. We saw him yesterday over in Oakland playing with the Athletics, actually in Mesa, where the A's now train. And he hit a first pitch changeup off Danny Salazar for a long home run.
Well, you know what? It'll be interesting going out to Oakland. That ball should carry a little better than it does in Kansas City, although it can be tough at times.
Michael Bourne makes the catch, and Nick Miranda works around a pair of singles here in the second. 1-0 Cleveland. The Indians lead it 1-0 as we go to the bottom of the second here in Goodyear, Arizona. For Cleveland, Jesus Aguilar will lead off. Then it's Tyler Holt, followed by Roberto Perez. Matt Underwood, along with Rick Manning here in the booth. Let's go down to the Indians dugout, where we are joined now by Indians pitcher Carlos Carrasco. Carlos, how are you today?
Good, really good.
How's the spring gone for you to this point as far as getting yourself ready to start the season?
You know what? Everything is going good for me. You know, I kind of coming ready from the old season before I came here, but everything's good now.
How much time were you able to take off from the point last year ended to where you came to spring training this year?
You know what? I think I never stop. I never stop working. You know, I need to do my work in the off season, and then try to work everything. I think everything's mentally. You know, get ready for the game, and that's what I did in the off season. That's what I bring to the spring training.
Well, the way you were pitching at the end of last year, Carlos, I wouldn't have wanted to stop either, because you were throwing the ball very well. And a lot of people talk about the bullpen, where you came out of the bullpen, something went off in your mind that set it off to where you could carry that into being a starter. What was it for you?
You know what? I think I did too many things. You know, I did too many stuff and trying to figure out how to pitch and everything. But I think the more important when they sent me to the bullpen, and I kind of learned over there. And I asked a lot of questions to those guys in the bullpen. At some point, every time when Kluber pitched, just watch him, the way he threw the ball and everything, the way he attacked the hitter, and I kind of learned from there.
Fouled right back off the bat of Jesus Aguilar. It seemed like, from what we heard, you were able to simplify things. You scrapped the windup, went from the stretch, and just, as you said, attacked hitters. Was it simply a matter of simplifying things for you?
You know what? That's what I saw in everyone. You know, in Salazar, Tijao, Kluber, and everyone. You know, I think that's the more important. You know, the attack, the hitter, and everything. And I didn't know why I still pitching on the stretch, but I think that's something more important. You know, that's what I did last year, and that's what I need to continue this year too.
It makes you feel comfortable doing that, right?
Yes, I feel 100% comfortable. Yeah.
Then that's all that counts. Now you've got an excellent fastball, you've got a great slider, and your changeup is really coming around. Are you working on anything special this spring to make it even better for the year?
Yes, in my changeup, and that's what I did in the off season too. So I kind of started first with my fastball and my second pitch on changeup, and that's what I've been doing in the spring training. Just, you know what, fastball and changeup.
Do you get it? Is it on the field, Carlos, or is it arm speed, or what are you looking for to make you feel more comfortable with it?
You know what? I think the more important is my mechanic.
Okay.
Yes, I can do anything about my arm because I can slow down my arm. So just everything I do everything quick.
Well, I told you the other day I would not scrap the going out of the stretch, because if it ain't broke, don't fix it. And you know what? I was watching yesterday or 2 days ago, Taijuan Walker of Seattle. He may call that a windup, but he doesn't have much of a windup.
Yeah, that's what I saw, because I'm trying to find something that is sand weight. You know, the strike kind of. You know, I just want to say it on the stretch. You know.
Right.
Well, yeah, it doesn't take away from your fastball. You're still throwing mid-90s, so it really doesn't matter. It's just a matter of you feeling comfortable.
Yes, that's what I talked to Mickey Galloway and said. I just gonna keep throwing out of the stretch, because that's the way that I feel good.
And Carlos, how important, what kind of an influence do Yan Gomes and Roberto Perez have on you as a pitcher in terms of being confident in when they put the finger down, you just throw that pitch?
You know what? I never say anything about that, and just to put the finger down and I just go ahead and throw the ball. That's what I did last year.
And it works.
Yes. That's what I did last year. I never said no. I just yes. That's what we do in the meeting before the game, and like 2 hours before the game, we gone everybody.
How much fun was it to follow Corey Kluber last year in the rotation? You watch him the night before you pitch, you go back out and you try to duplicate it, do the same thing, and you work quickly, you throw strikes, and you guys it was a good competition.
Yeah, you know what? That's more important. That's what we did last year. the whole rotation. You know, the old 5 guys. And I saw Kluber throwing, and the next day, okay, I'm gonna do the same job and everything. But I think the more important, I followed Kluber and the guy coming behind me, so he followed me too. It's kind of competition between us. I think that's good.
Yeah, we call it friendly competition because you push each other. You try to make each other better.
Yeah, that's what we're trying to do, and that's I think I hope we can do that in, this year too.
Well, you're going to see a lot of these Kansas City Royals, the White Sox, the Tigers. Those games are always they always seem to bring out the best in everybody because you know each other so well, don't you?
Yes, yeah. You know what? I think we're gonna be great. You know. I think we're gonna be great if we still doing the same job we did last year. I think we're gonna make it.
Well, we certainly hope so. Now, you guys, I mean, you pitched. You're gonna try and get to 200 innings, I'm sure, this year, and I mean that's a goal for every starting pitcher is 200 innings. But that's the one thing that a lot of our pitchers, they're younger, they haven't proven they can go that distance. Is your goal 200 innings?
That's my goal. Yeah, that's my goal. Last year, I think I only threw the 134th inning. You know, but that's my goal, 200 innings.
Oh boy!
Roberto Perez drives one deep to left and long gone.
Wow, that's a bomb.
That is a bomb, is right. That was smoked.
The Indians now lead it 3-0 as Perez picks up his first home run on the spring. He now has driven in 7 runs, and I believe that is now the team lead for the Indians.
Well, he picks on a fastball. He gets the head of the bat way out front here and hits it a long way. But I always say, Carlos, if they got to hit him a long way. That looks better.
Yes, that looks great.
Give it up. Ahead.
So 7 RBIs for Perez now does give him the team lead as the Indians have a 3-0 advantage here in the second inning. And Carlos, that's a big part of pitching, is knowing that your guys are going to go out there and score some runs for you and give you the confidence that you don't have to be perfect every time you go out there.
Hey, you know what? We had great defense. we have a lot of guys that can hit, you know, and that we can go and they make it our job really easy.
How much of an impact does Mickey Callaway have on you and the other pitchers around? Can you tell us anything on that?
Yeah, you know what, Mickey Callaway, you can ask whatever you want to him, and he trying to help everyone in here in spring training. You know, everyone, you know, from the bullpen rotation. I think he talked.
Well, this was kind of a weird-looking developing play. The first baseman Fields gets himself into no man's land, and it's Duffy who's got to cover the bag.
Yeah, well, he should have let the second baseman take that ball, and he should have went back to first base. You got to know where your defense is at. And when you see Colon over there, he's in position to make the play if he gets over to first. That's a really tough play for a left-handed pitcher to go over and cover first base. And it's a tough throw also for the second baseman.
Well, Michael Bourne showing that burst out of home plate. He looks good. How does he look running down there from your vantage point, Carlos?
He looked great.
He's getting after it now.
Yeah.
Yes, indeed. We got to keep him healthy this year.
Yes, that's what we need to do. Yep.
There's Jose Ramirez, an RBI ground out his first time up. Duffy lobs a toss over there to first base. Well, Carlos, hey, we appreciate you stopping by. Thanks so much for your time. Best of luck to you this coming season, all right?
All right, thank you.
Thanks,
guys.
Carlos.
All right, we'll do it again real soon. That's Carlos Carrasco down in the Indians dugout, stopping by, spending some time with us. What a season he had last year, especially in the second half, really turned it on. And he gives the Indians so much hope now because you've got the Cy Young Award winner. You've got a guy who looks like he's really turned the corner, backing him up. Then you've got Trevor Bauer. You've got T.J. House.
Right.
You know,
who knows?
We'll see how that fifth spot shakes out.
You know, the thing I notice about Carlos more than anything is his attitude. He seems more relaxed now. I don't know, but when you pitch as good as he did the second half of the year, it certainly gives you confidence. But there were times he went out there and pitched scared. And, you know, he just seems to be a different person. He carries himself well. He enjoys himself in the clubhouse. So I'm looking forward to some big things from Carlos again this year, hopefully for the whole year.
Yeah, you know, someday we're going to have to find a way to articulate it to the point where we can make a lot of money talking about confidence, because when you talk to baseball people, confidence is a fickle and sometimes tough to define aspect of each and every individual. But Carlos Carrasco, as Terry Francona told me, he's confident in the clubhouse. He's confident around me and Mickey and the other coaching staff. He said he's comfortable now because he knows he can compete at this level.
And these guys are in his corner.
But you don't know why it takes so long for that to kind of fall into place.
I do know why, because it's a very difficult game to play. And, you know, he's from this country. He's in a different country. He's speaking his second language, and he's got a long way to go. So it took him a while to go on. And the thing about baseball is everyday game. You know, if you're a starter, and you can fail one day, but the next day you can go out and be the hero.
As your contemporary and Hall of Famer Carlton Fisk once said, without failure, there would be no success.
Yeah.
Ramirez swing and a miss. He's down on strikes. First K for Duffy, 2 down here in the second.
You know, we talk about this game. You could go 0 for 3 and have the worst 3 at-bats of your life in the one game, and you can get up in the 8th or 9th inning and you can become a hero. Have the opportunity where a guy's on second base and they forget your first 3 at-bats and you build on that base hit if you win the game.
Yeah.
Or you can have 3 hits and, you know, you're winning 5-4. They end up scoring 2. You lose and you strike out with the bases loaded, and they look at your last at bat. So it's really it's a very tough game to play.
Kind of a raggedy inning for Danny Duffy and the Royals. Some defensive.
The first 2 innings have been
miscues.
Very bad for the Royals.
He's had a wild pitch. He's had a pass ball.
Look, Perez doesn't want to work this hard in spring training. This guy, during the year, he's right there. He's going to stop everything. But he's been all over the place today. Duffy has been, too.
Rayburn chops it foul. The official scoring decision on both of the balls that got by Perez this inning were both wild pitches.
Absolutely.
Thought maybe the first one was a pass ball, but no.
Not with this guy behind the plate. They're all wild pitches.
If he can't catch them.
Right. He doesn't catch them, that's a pitcher's fault.
Now the 1-1. Breaking ball just a bit outside. You can hear the umpire, Anthony Johnson, make the call. And it's 2. Slowly chopped towards third base. Jackson on the run makes a perfect feed to first, and the inning is over. But the Indians break out the big bat. Roberto Perez launches one deep. Carlos Carrasco loves it, and the Indians lead it 3-0. Indians with a 3-0 lead as we go now to the third inning. Good defense already on display here for Cleveland, not so much for Kansas City. Royals have committed only one error on the board, but a couple of wild pitches and some just odd-looking plays between the first and second baseman. A lot of that's young guys and learning how to play the position, learning to know your range, knowing your second baseman's range, which ball you go for, which ball you stay back, cover the bag on. It is a game that you never stop learning. Christian Colon, the leadoff for Kansas City, looks at a ball outside. 10 on the spring. He's a middle infielder that will hope to be counted on if needed. And look, early in the spring, the Royals had some concern because Omar Infante bothered by a sore elbow. This is only the second game that he has played in.
Yeah, and he gets the DH role today, so they just want to get him at bats. And you know, with veteran teams or veteran players, you don't have to rush them. They just try to get certain people ready for opening day.
Chop towards short. Ramirez waits back, flips it over. One down. Well, in that second inning, Royals got their leadoff man aboard, but watch Mike Aviles quickly scoop it, flip it to second, and the Indians turn a double play. That's what you see here this afternoon, but would you believe Mike Aviles' day starts at 8:30 in the morning? This is workouts where he's working on the second base side of the bag, working on the feed on the double play going the other way.
It's the exact opposite of the one we just saw him turn from third base.
But, you know, these guys don't just show up at 11 o'clock, take a few swings, and go out and play the game. Spring training's a different animal in which they're working all the time. And here's exactly what Mike Sarbaugh, the Indians infield coach, is trying to teach these guys.
I'm looking for their footwork, their glove positioning, you know, how we can make it quicker, especially in this setting at 8:30 in the morning. It's more about doing it right. Sometimes the speed of it, we'll work on that later in the day when the guys are a little hotter and the day has progressed. But I think out here we're just working on our footwork, making sure we're accurate with our throws, because as the game speeds up, if we're not accurate here, it's going to play worse in the game. So we're trying to make it to where we're doing it right, fundamentally sound, so as we progress through the day, we can speed it up and do it correctly.
Yeah, very good. It's not kicked in at 8:30, but if the footwork's right, and when the game speeds up, it's not going to look any quicker to these guys. They're going to do it and look smooth anyway, because smooth is quick. And that's, you know, you don't have to be quick and get it over there and throw everything. The smoother you get, I think the quicker you are.
Alcides Escobar ropes it down the left field line. This will go all the way to the corner. Tyler Holt gives chase. Ryan Jackson flying around third. He's going to score. It's an RBI double for Alcides Escobar. And the Royals get on the board. It's now a 3-1 ball game.
Yeah, Escobar a chance to be their leadoff hitter this year. He's a guy, you know, that they hit him down in the lineup. He finds a way to get the barrel head of the bat to the baseball. I don't care if it's in, out, it doesn't matter. He can put it in play.
Tried to sneak a fastball by him inside.
Yeah, not going to do it. He didn't get it in there, and he drills it down into the corner. You know, Nori Aoki did a good job for him last year, who was in the outfield in the top part of that lineup. But I believe you'll see Escobar up there this year for the most part. See if we get a bunt here.
Swing and a miss by Dyson.
He walked up a couple times in his first at bat. Perfect situation with the left-handed pitcher and the left-handed batter to maybe lay one down and beat one out and get your job done.
Fouled right back, and it's 0-2. Nick Morande getting the start today for Cleveland. Corey Kluber, scheduled to pitch today, is throwing a simulated game. Morande is a guy much like Sean Markham, who's in camp fighting for a spot, but potentially could give the Indians some pitching depth at the minor league level. Hit in the air to left field. Holt makes the grab right on the front part of the warning track. Back to second is Escobar, and there are 2 down.
Yeah, I thought we were going to get a chance, but then I realized we're playing Kansas City, so Kluber's out there getting his work in on field number 1 over near the complex.
This was at 11:45 a.m. this morning. What they call a simulated game. An opportunity for Kluber to get his work in sort of a sped up manner.
Yeah, he pitched very well against Kansas City last year as well, and you don't want the Royals seeing him. There's not that they're going to have their everyday lineup in there, but
hits the mound. Backhanded by Walters. Off balance throw right on the money.
Good play.
Royals get a run here in the third on a couple of hits. They leave one stranded. We'll head to the bottom of the third in Goodyear. Cleveland 3, Kansas City 1. (3-1) Indians lead at bottom of the third inning here in Goodyear on another spectacular afternoon. A few clouds overhead, but warm again. Franklin Morales now in the ball game, pitching for Kansas City. Left-hander last year with the Rockies. Did a little bit of both, starting and relieving. 6 up, 9 down ERA, 5.37. For Cleveland, it will be Carlos Santana, Mike Aviles, and Zach Walters here in the third. Let's go back down to the Indians dugout. We're joined now by Indians pitcher Cody Allen. Cody, how are you?
What's going on, guys?
Not much. How's this spring going for you?
It's going well. I think we're at a point where guys are really getting going. Effort levels getting up, and guys are getting ready to play.
You look at the stat sheet, and it says Cody Allen's pitched in 2 games. He's pitched 2 innings, but I know you've done a lot more work here in Goodyear since you've been here. What's a daily sort of a routine for you? Take us through it.
I like to get to the ballpark early because I got quite a few things in my routine that I like to do, and I don't want to rush them. So I'll get here about 6:15, a little after 6. Get in the training room, get in the hot tub, get ready to go. Get in the weight room, get a little warm up going, and depending on what I have that day, either be bullpen or inning pitch that day. Depends or it dictates my workload for the day, but go out, get some catch in, get some long toss, get the arm ready, get the legs going, and then just kind of go about my day if we have a game or not.
Do you have so many innings or anything that you like to get in before the season starts?
Not necessarily innings. I do like to get about at least probably anywhere between 9 and 10 innings, but I do like to get off the mound a little bit more later in camp, where we're going 2 days off in between innings, but say the day before I throw, I'll get off the mound just for like 10, 15 fastballs just to try and continue to get some work off the mound and get that rhythm.
Santana plugs one toward the gap. Dyson runs it down. one away. I was going to ask you, Cody, I mean, obviously there's a difference in the type of workload for a closer and a starting pitcher, but how different is the preparation here in Goodyear for both the starters and the relievers?
I mean, you're just trying to get comfortable on the mound, trying to get your arm ready, get your legs underneath you, and get to where your body's recovering, because those first couple, live BPs and things, in the first few days of camp, your legs are sore, you're getting sore in places you haven't been because you're in spikes all day, doing PFPs and all that stuff. So you're just getting your body ready for the daily grind of it all, and so I feel ready when I'm able to go out and throw 15, 16 pitches in an inning, and I feel ready to go the next day like I can pitch again.
Well, you're right when you say daily grind, because you had 4 of your friends, you and 3 of your other friends, come out at least 70 times last year out of the bullpen. So it is a grind for you guys.
It absolutely is, and we don't expect it to be any different this year,
right?
Because I mean, our starting rotation is going to be fantastic, so we may not get used innings wise as much, but appearances, man. We know Tito likes to go to that pen. We got a good group down there, and we feel like we can close out some ball games.
Matt and I were talking about it up here. If the starters can try and get maybe two-thirds more innings per game overall as an average, that takes a lot of workload off the bullpen as far as innings go, doesn't it?
Yeah. The innings, I think, is more of a factor than the appearances. You
right.
Look at a lot of our guys. There's not really anybody down there. Shaw, obviously he had 80 appearances, but he didn't have 80 innings. So the innings are the things that can mount up more than anything.
Well, and sometimes, hey, we've seen it happen in spring training, regular season. You want to get through an inning quickly, but sometimes things are beyond your control, and the next thing you know, if you're up there 20, 30 pitches in an inning, is that what takes a bigger toll on you as a reliever, bounce-back-wise?
Yeah, if you're out there for 30 pitches, you're really grinding through some stuff. So that can take a little bit of a toll on you, especially this early on. But once we get into the summer months, where it warms up and everything's a little bit looser, and your arm's in mid-season form, you should be able to go the next day. But towards the end of the season, those amount of pitches can really total up to a big number, and you start to get tired.
I bet we can count on
inning.
one hand the number of times you guys said you couldn't go the next day. Thanks for your time, Cody. Appreciate
no problem,
it.
Guys.
That's Cody Allen. 1-2-3. Go the Indians here in the third. They still lead it 3-1.
KeyBank Kids tickets start at just $10 for kids 12 and under with the purchase of an adult ticket. Kids are located in the new family deck at Progressive Field, home to the expanded Kids Clubhouse. You can log on to Indians.com for the information.
Fourth inning here in Goodyear, and the new Indians pitcher will be Brian Shaw. Funny, we were just talking about him. Shaw last year was Mr. Reliable. 80 appearances.
Every other day.
But as Cody Allen pointed out, didn't get 80 innings pitched, 76 2/3. So this all goes back to how well the bullpen was managed. As you see, Carlos Moncrief in for Ryan Rayburn now in right field. You had 4 guys with 70 appearances, Rick, but between Mickey Callaway and Kevin Cash, who was the bullpen coach, and Terry Francona, they kept tabs on every guy. How does he feel? Let's make sure we don't overuse somebody. And they were able to just really put it together well.
Well, you communicate with the pitchers to begin with. And if they tell you, please let me know if you're okay.
It's going to be a double for Perez. It fell just inside the chalk. And this is the second game that we've done this week in which Carlos Moncrief has had to go hell-bent for leather for that right field foul line. He's had to pull up because there's no room, and it's fallen just inside the chalk.
And he just came into the game, and the ball has a tendency to just find you. Yeah, he's not going to be able to make a play there. You got to pull up. It's inside the line. Deflects up. Ground rule double. And there should be about the same next year or this year as it was last year, where these guys, when you play close games and you have your bullpen set up with the way these guys pitch, you get Zepchinski, he's going to be in there making an appearance. Shaw is going to be in there. Cody Allen, and and even Atch. You're going to get in there and have your appearance because close games.
And as Terry Francona was asked today about Corey Kluber, someone asked him if he expected Kluber to be not as good as he was a year ago. He said, no, I expect him to be better. I expect all of our guys to be better. And I think if you take that kind of mindset into looking at the bullpen, as that ball's hit into right field sharply by Sierra, and now the Royals have runners at the corners. You look at some of those guys like a Nick Hagedorn, like a Kyle Crockett. That next wave, if you will, if those pitchers, Rick, can improve dramatically and have the kind of impact on the bullpen, then it's not just Shaw, Zipchinski, and Allen.
Right.
It's more pieces to the puzzle that he can go to in dependable roles.
Let's say in a tie game, as opposed, you can't always use your guys in tie games. You like to use them when you're winning. But you're right, the Crockett's, the Hagedorns, if they can pitch in a tie game or one run down, that certainly helps the bullpen out, and it helps out Terry Francona and Mickey Callaway.
Paulo Orlando with the first 2 aboard here in the 4th inning. Hit sharply to left field. Holt won't get it. One hops the fence. Scoring is Perez. Sierra, he's going to be waved around. He's going to score. Orlando goes for third. Ball hits him as he goes in safely with a 2-run triple. And that will tie the game at 3. 3 straight Royals have all reached with hits here in the 4th off Brian Shaw.
Well, that ball is a hanger right down the middle of the plate, and he jumped all over it and drove it in the gap in the left center field at the 380 mark. And these guys are running the bases, so 3 hitters, and they have a tie ball game, a double, a single, and now a triple.
Now Matt Field stands in. Fly to center is only time up. I suppose there's a lot more to it than just looking at the numbers. But when you consider Brian Shaw's faced 11 hitters and has given up 7 hits, one might think that's reason for concern, even though it is only spring training.
Well, it is, because he'll tell you I'm throwing the ball down the middle of the plate when you look at the hits. He's got that cutter that he gets up there into the mid-90s. He's got an excellent slider. This guy can be as tough on any right-hander all year long, but right now it's all about location.
If it was the last week of March, there'd be reason for concern, probably more so than there is with 3.5 weeks away till the season opener in Houston.
Well, you see, I think a lot of the rest of the minor league kids are checking in tomorrow. They get in because they start later and they only have 3 weeks of spring training. As Chris told us before, if they want pitchers to get more work, they can send them down to the minor league camp and they can get all the work they want down there. It doesn't have to be on this field.
Good pitch by Shaw. He strikes out Fields, 1 away.
Yeah, pulls a string on that one, puts it in a good spot. If you look at the hitters prior to this, and look at the locations. There's one up and away that he just slices down the line. There's one up middle. He goes inside out. And then this one's a hanging slider right there. It speeds up the bat. So you can see that the strikeout pitch was a very good location. Took something off and had him out in front.
Infield in with 1 out. Colon bangs it through, and the Royals take the lead. 3 home here in the 4th, and it's 4-3 Kansas City. Four out of the 5 Kansas City Royals hitters have all reached on hits here in the 4th. Ryan Jackson singled and scored in the 3rd. Well, we showed you that Corey Kluber pitched in a simulated game earlier today and certainly had good results. He went 3 innings, 4 hits, no runs, no walks, 5 strikeouts. Runner goes, throw down by Perez. Good throw. And Colon is out from me to you, wherever you are.
That could have been a hit and run going on, too.
Seemed like something didn't go right.
Yeah, let's take a look at the jump here. He wanted to make sure he was going home. He's looking all the way in. The kid, the hitter, must have missed the hit and run. Because there's no way you're going to try and steal a base outright and stare into the hitter. He's looking to see if he can see the ball being hit, and it was easy for Perez to throw him out, and the Indians could use it.
Let me ask you the dumb question of the day.
What's that?
We always blame the hitter for missing the signal. Is there ever a time where the runner thought it was a hit and run and it wasn't actually on?
No, because most times the first base coach, when there's a hit and run put on, he's going to tell the runner, so he knows. You know, he's got help with the coach over there. The hitter usually always messes up.
All the way to the backstop.
If that was a straight steal, I'd blame the hitter anyway, just so I don't get in trouble, because he was thrown out by a ton.
That's true, right? No contest. In addition to Corey Kluber throwing that sim game, I wanted to mention, though, Josh Tomlin pitched a bullpen session today and passed it with flying colors. And Mickey Callaway told me he expects Tomlin to pitch 2 innings now on Saturday.
Well, good. We'll get a chance to talk to Mickey here soon, won't we?
Oh, that's true. He's coming on.
Yes, he is. We'll be able to talk to Mickey
so
about
hopefully that gets Tomlin back on track to having an opportunity to fight for a spot in the starting rotation. As I said, still just over 3 weeks away, so plenty of chances to get work in for the starters. 2 down here in the 4th. Royals now up 4-3. Kansas City has gone 8-1 in Cactus League play. Indians 3-5 with a tie. Upstairs, full count. Up and in. Then we'll bring up Alcides Escobar, who's 1 for 2 with a double and a run batted in. In his career, Brian Shaw has had pretty good results against Kansas City with a 2.87 ERA. Well, that had to be just last year, right? Only 15 2/3 innings, you figure. No, I suppose that could be in his career, huh?
Sure.
Runner goes, swing and a miss, throw down by Perez, a little off the mark. Walters goes up high to snare it, but a steal for Ryan Jackson. That's his 3rd in 4 attempts on the spring.
Well, there's one thing you know about Kansas City. They're not going to stop because you throw out a runner. And here you go with 2 outs, the prime time to steal and get yourself in scoring position in 2 outs. And he does steal successfully. Now they have an opportunity to score.
Fly ball to right. Moncrief makes the grab, inning over. Kansas City with 3 home here in the 4th has taken the lead 4-3. Back here in Goodyear, Kansas City with a 4-3 lead as we go to the bottom of the 4th inning. And now on for the Royals, right-hander Luke Hochevar. 2 years ago was a dynamite setup man for KC in 58 games, had a 1.92 ERA. But unfortunately for him, he missed all of last year with Tommy John surgery.
Yeah, well, if he's ready to come back and help that bullpen that they already have with Herrera, you got Holland as the closer, Wade Davis. Boy, he could help out if he comes back pitching well.
A couple of changes for Kansas City. You see Bubba Starling is now in a ball game in center field. We're going to go down to the Indians dugout where we are joined by Indians pitching coach Mickey Callaway. Mickey, how's this spring gone for you so far?
Oh, going really good, guys. Guys are throwing the ball over the plate for the most part, and that's what we're looking for right now.
What is a spring training day for you with as many pitchers as you have in camp, because you have invites and everything, and you've got to find innings for all these guys?
Yeah, it gets a little busy. I think me and Millsy get in about 4:30 in the morning.
Do you really?
And, he's usually working out because he's pretty dedicated, but I'm usually in there working on trying to line these pitchers up.
Oh, boy.
Well, I mean, again, there's a lot of guys, and we saw Nick Morande get the start today. We've seen Sean Markham in camp. These aren't necessarily names that come to the top of Tribe fans' minds when they think about the upcoming season, but they could play a role at some point.
Yeah, absolutely. Every year you're going to use 9, 10 starters, throughout the season. So we want to make sure these guys are comfortable and ready to go when we might need them.
Flip to first, and Aguilar retired for out number 1. Corey Kluber threw a simulated game today. What's the thinking, Mickey, and why do you to take advantage of things like that during spring training?
You know, there's a couple different reasons. You know, obviously Corey had a big workload last year, and we're trying to monitor that and the way he gets ready for the season right now. And you know, one of the other factors is we're playing the Royals, and you know, we don't want to have to face them too much where they get too familiar with him.
Yeah, I mean, he pitched great against them last year, and I can totally see that. Don't show him anything you have to.
That's right.
Yeah, don't show your hand until we face him.
Exactly.
You know, he may start 5 times against him this year.
Yeah, exactly. And the good thing about Corey is no matter where he's at, he can be on field 10 somewhere, and he's going to get some good work in.
So, Mickey, yesterday I was over in Mesa watching Danny Salazar. 1, 2, 3 in the first inning. Second inning, got a little raggedy, got away from him. You had to take him out of the ball game. When I talked to him afterwards, I was really taken back by the fact that he told me, he said, you know, I was 24 seconds in between pitches and I lost my tempo. Obviously, you told him where he was at. What are you trying to establish with your starters or pitchers in general with regards to how quickly they get the ball and throw it again?
Yeah, I mean, and you have to get up there and throw the ball as quick as possible just to keep that rhythm going. You know, I think he was thinking a little bit too much about mechanics, and he kind of indicated that to me today. And anytime you're taking a long time in between pitches, you know, those kind of things are going to creep into your brain. So we want him to get the ball back, get on the mound, and throw the ball home, and throw his strikes as many times as they can.
Is there a baseline that you have in terms of, like, do you have a set time that you want him to be within?
I wouldn't say there's a base time, but if they can get up there and throw that thing in 12 to 15 seconds, I think that's going to be a pretty good pace for these guys.
Well, I'll tell you one thing. If you watch T.J. House, he does it in about 5 seconds.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you, I noticed it in Bauer in his last start. He doesn't leave the rubber. I think that's a good thing for these guys.
I think it really is. You know, it controls the tempo of the hitter. You know, obviously the hitters can't get out of the box and get prepared like they want to this year. They have to keep one foot in. If you can get that other foot back in the box as soon as possible, then you might have a slight advantage.
You know, as a hitter, you'd try and slow pitchers down when they get into their rhythm. You know, you'd step out, you'd do whatever you could to try and, you know, slow them down, because if they get into rhythm, boy, they get a feel and they're around the strike zone and you're swinging the bat and just topping balls.
Yeah, exactly. So, you know, we want them to feel comfortable and feel like they don't have to think too much in between pitches.
I think for the most part, it's working well for your starters.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, you've seen a different Carrasco out there than when he was starting before. He gets it and chucks it. It's really fun to watch.
Mickey, does the philosophy change from starter to reliever in terms of the frequency with which they get rid of the baseball?
You know, it can. I think, obviously, if you're a closer, there's a little, you know, every pitch is kind of an event for those guys because it's such a big situation. But, you know, I think for the most part, if guys can get up there, get on that mound and throw that thing home, and I think you're going to be better off for it.
We were talking to Cody Allen just before you came on, and do you have any set maybe appearances for your bullpen coming out in games?
Yeah, you know, those guys that threw a lot of innings last year, Shaw and Cody and Atch and Zepp, we're going to control their innings. We want them to get about 8 innings in major league games, probably another 3 in sim games in minor leagues. So they come in, you know, with 11 innings under their belt and then ready to fire the ball at, you know, that opening day.
Yeah, and their arms will be ready to go.
That's right.
I made the point a little while ago, Mickey, that if you can get guys like, say, Nick Hagedorn and Kyle Crockett to maybe step forward, how important would that be for you to take a little pressure off having to go to Shaw and Zipchinski and, you know, those same guys night after night?
Yeah, that'd be great. You know, we put a plan in place for each of those lefties to help them attack righties a little better. So if we have that lefty-righty matchup, we don't have to, you know, use 2 lefties and a righty to get those 3 hitters out, and they can kind of go through those 3 hitters. So we put a plan in place for each of those guys, you know, things to work on. Hagedorn's throwing a cutter, Crockett's throwing a 2-seamer, and Zepp's working on his 4-seamer. Just things to keep away from those righties and to cut them in on their hands to give them a little more opportunity to have success against them.
That'll save Tito 2 pairs of shoes of going out there and going through.
Exactly.
Oh, man. Roberto Perez with 2 down in the inning at the dish, 2-1 count. Man, he looks at ball 3 outside. Okay, so you got quite a battle going on here as you fill out the starting rotation, and everybody seems to be throwing the ball well. I mentioned Danny Salazar had a little bit of a rough outing yesterday, but all in all, too close to call at this point, I would imagine.
Yeah, exactly. You know, I think we knew we were going to have a tough decision at the end of camp coming in, and we kind of figured all these guys would throw the ball pretty well. they all came into camp this year really prepared for spring training, and knowing that, hey, I got to be ready to get a win at the 1st of April. So, House and Salazar did a great job of that. Obviously, Tomlin's always ready to go, and I look forward to a good battle for that last spot.
Mick, but these guys know, and you guys talk to them about it, just because you don't make the team coming out of spring training doesn't mean I'm not going to see you in May.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that's the first thing Tito talks to them about in their one-on-ones is, hey, timing isn't as important as you getting up here and being able to contribute and help us win at some point. So, I think all these guys, keep that in mind when they're, and try not to put too much pressure on themselves at this point in the year.
I mentioned before I watched Tomlin throw today when you were down there in that bullpen session, and you expect him to be back on the hill in game situation on Saturday?
Yes, he's going to throw 2 innings on Saturday. He looked really good in his pen today. Maybe up a little bit at the beginning, but really locked it in, maybe a quarter way into his pen and was lights out.
Well, let's break camp healthy, and hopefully these pitchers are going to pick up right where they left off last year. I know that's what you're hoping for.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I think they are going to do that if they stay healthy. Like you said, staying healthy is the key. We've got guys that go out there, they battle, they've got grit, and they throw the ball over the plate. And if they can stay healthy, they're going to pitch well.
So have you been breaking Jason Beret in for his new role out there in the bullpen?
Yeah, he's doing a tremendous job. He's having a great time. Obviously, the guys love him, and we're very fortunate to have him in that role.
Yeah, he said the timing was perfect for him.
Yeah. I think he was, obviously in the organization for a long time, and he was getting to the point where he wanted to get back on the field and get more involved on a daily basis, and we're happy to have him.
Well, we're happy to have you. Thanks for stopping by, Mick.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Indians pitching coach Mickey Callaway, 4-3 Kansas City as we go to the 5th.
Well, grab some friends and catch a game at the new 2-story bar at Progressive Field with a $13 district ticket is presented by Sports Time Ohio. It's the new bar and the best place in town to grab a cold one, and with the district ticket, your first drink is on us. Visit Indians.com.
5th inning here in Goodyear, and Scott Downs coming on now for the Tribe. Last year, with both Kansas City and Chicago, 55 appearances.
He's been around a long time. He's been with a lot of different teams, the left-hander.
Well, a little bit of irony in that the soon-to-be 39-year-old will be 39 coming up next 1 week from, 5 days. March 17th, his birthday.
St. Patty's Day.
Yeah.
We'll be televising.
Tyler Naquin now in center field, but when Downs was with the Angels, it was Nick Mirande, who started today's game for Cleveland, that took over his role in the Angels bullpen.
I'll be darned.
And that's when Downs was traded to Atlanta back in 2013.
Yeah, back in his day, I'll tell you, that was a lefty that could he could get both righties and lefties out. He was awfully good in the back end of a bullpen.
Downs and Morande both hail from Kentucky. And again, at 39 years old, Downs, hey, if you still feel good, why not give it one more chance? I think a lot of people thought maybe he'd call it a career last year as he got to the World Series with Kansas City, but he figures, well, I'm here. Let's give it one more shot.
Look, there's that old saying, as you well know, once you earn that uniform, make them rip it off you. If you've got an opportunity, being a left-handed pitcher, there's always a spot that could be available if you can get left-handers out.
Now, Bubba Starling, the guy he's facing here in the 5th inning, was a highly touted football player coming.
He's got the name of a football player, Bubba.
Well, our guy Bo Pelini thought he was going to come to Nebraska and play football for the Cornhuskers, but he opted to go the baseball route. And that certainly turned out to be great news for Kansas City fans, as this is only going to be his 4th professional season. And at 6'4", 210, I mean, he's built like a quarterback because that's what he was as a high school football player. But got a chance to be a pretty good baseball player.
And we've talked about it this spring during a couple of our telecasts. Just because you're a great athlete and you're coming out of college or coming out of high school, it's going to take you a little while to get it and make it in baseball. Unlike where you can go to a great program like Nebraska in football, and then you get drafted by the pros, and they're counting on you to be an impact guy. It takes a while in the game of baseball.
Pounded foul.
Sort of like the nets they have here that are hanging over the dugouts that come back in those bouncers, where people behind the dugouts, really, they have a chance to be blocked by those screens. It's a pretty good idea.
Hit hard in the hole and a base hit for Starling.
Good swing. He fouled off and fouled off until he got a pitch to his liking. It might have been the cutter that he didn't get enough inside. Starling able to get on top of it, find the hole between short and third. That'll be the 9th hit for the Royals.
Speaking of our buddy Bo Pelini, he checked in with me today.
Did he?
And he said of Bubba Starling, great kid, unreal talent. So
there you have it.
Yeah.
Where is Bo right now? Do you know?
He's now the head football coach at Youngstown State University.
So he's back east,
where Jim Tressel is the school president.
Well, if you're watching, hello, Bo.
Yeah. Omar Infante, who is DHing today, 0 for 2. A couple of ground ball outs. Mentioned that Infante has been bothered by a sore elbow. It's one of those deals where they did an MRI and they found a bone spur. So they gave him a cortisone shot over the weekend. And he's hoping to be able to resume his throwing program this weekend. He said he feels like he needs about 10 to 11 games in the field so that he can be ready for opening day.
Well, he's been around, and you just never know if that spur just wants to float around there. You could be in trouble. If it's settled, yeah, he got the swing there.
Down on the count now, 1 and 2.
That you're hopefully that shot takes away and gets that pain out there. You get a side look, and he didn't swing more than that guy did earlier in the game.
I'd agree with you on that 100%. Yeah, I was thinking the same thing with a bone spur. The cortisone shot's not going to make it go away.
No, but you just hope it quits floating around, and it lands in one spot.
Fouled on the left side. Another guy who's not 100% yet for Kansas City that's a key member of their team is Alex Gordon. I didn't realize it, but he had wrist surgery in the offseason.
Yes, he did, and that's a big piece for that ball club. He was their power threat, their big RBI guy, and a tremendous left fielder.
Yeah, he's still, I don't believe, has been cleared to play in games yet, but he feels like he's getting close. He said, quote, not 100% yet, but it's close. And Alex Gordon said he plans to be ready to start the season when Kansas City opens the year.
I think they open against the White Sox, don't they? Let me double check here. They do. Their first game's against the White Sox, so they won't end up having to face Chris Sale, who's hurt, and it will not start opening day.
Downs 2-2 has fouled out of play.
And the White Sox will be our second opponent after the Tigers leave town the weekend series. We have an off day Monday, and then the White Sox come in.
Now, Scott Downs ended up pitching in 17 games with Kansas City down the stretch last year after they acquired him. Another foul out of play.
Tough out is Infante.
One thing about Scott Downs, though, he's been pretty reliable in terms of consistency. You know, you look at, he's pitched in 619 major league games.
Yeah.
And he's got an ERA of 3.56. He got off to a rocky start with the White Sox last year. But, you know, we know how that happens. Sometimes with bullpen guys, you get off to you have a couple of bad outings early.
Right.
It can take forever for that ERA to go down.
Yeah, especially if you're a matchup guy.
Ripped. Fouled on the left side.
Yeah, you go out and you give up 3 or 4 runs in your first outing, and you know it takes you a couple outings to settle down. The ERA you can forget about.
The 2-2.
Boy, what an at-bat. He's just making him work to get him out. Following him off to the right side, pulling the pitches.
And Downs already, as you see there, has made 18 pitches, and most of them had been in this at-bat to Infante. Downs picked up a save last year against the Indians on May the 26th when he was with Chicago. 2-2. High pop left field near the line. Long run for Holt. Nobody gets there, and a foul ball by inches. Boy, Omar Infante. It's like a cat with 9 lives in this at bat, isn't he?
Yeah, he is. And that had a little hang time to it, but it was, I mean, you couldn't have placed it down there any better. And I think the Indians are lucky that it was foul, and it didn't miss by much. Yeah. That's like saying, come on, put it in play for goodness sakes.
I'm getting tired out
here. I don't care
here.
if you get a hit, just put it in play. Put it between the lines.
Downs married with 3 children. Played at the University of Kentucky. They probably wouldn't have let him leave the state. Otherwise, he was named Mr. Kentucky for baseball coming out of high school. Down low, full count. So in the college football, or the college and the March Madness brackets, how many won't have Kentucky on the final line?
Oh, my goodness. Well, I think anybody in their right mind, you got to pick them, don't you?
They look awfully good.
They are the best. There's no question about it.
Bubba Starling, who led off the inning with a single, is at first base.
Unless you're one of those guys that will take 2 pulls and then you pick an upset pool. And you're crafty enough, you might do that.
Runner goes 3-2.
Oh, boy.
What do you know?
Another foul
again.
ball. This is where you tell Perez behind the plate, go ahead, tell him what's coming. Don't worry about it. Hopefully he hits it at one of my defenders. He's sort of laughing out there now.
Yeah.
He can't believe it. They started the runner. I'm sure they'll probably do it again on the full count, figuring that Infante's going to put it in play. He's hit everything in sight.
Three-two. Another foul ball. This will be the 14th pitch of the at-bat.
Boy, that's the last thing you want in spring training for one hitter, to have a 14 pitch at bat.
Bubba Starling was running on the last 3-2. He's running again, and he pops him up.
What do you know? Look at
Downs was calling for it. He wanted it.
I don't blame him. He wants to put him away.
Santana takes it. Oh, my. That was good stuff. I think Downs was like, hey, I worked hard for this. I want this.
You know what? I don't blame him. He was calling for it. That was great. He should have called off the infielders and said, no, I had to work to get him. I'm going to put him away. And, boy, did he ever. 15 pitches, right, guys?
Yeah. 14.
14. Wow.
Next up, Salvador Perez. Perez has singled and doubled. He came into today 1 for 14 on the spring. He just needed a little Central Division rivalry to get him going.
Kidding.
Rick, this guy, we talk about him being a free swinger and a guy who you can get him to expand the strike zone, but sometimes that makes him dangerous because he can become a good bad ball hitter.
Yeah, he is. He can expand the strike zone, no question. I've seen him take more pitches today than I have in the first 2 series we played him. Yeah, it's going to change. You get guys on and you get guys in scoring position in the game and during the year, you'll see. You don't want, you know what, if he hits bad pitches off the plate, there's not much you can do. You tip your cap to him, but he will swing in a lot of balls out of the strike zone, especially to try and drive them home.
Swung on and missed.
We had a game against Kansas City. I think it was one of the first series going in September, big series. They had bases loaded, nobody out. I think Trevor Bauer was on the mound, and he was hitting fourth, and Bauer got out of that inning, bases loaded, nobody out, in the bottom half of the first inning.
Line to left center, that's in the alley. Starling flying around the bases. He's going to score easy. And Perez going to lug his way into second base with an RBI double. He is 3 for 3 on the day with 2 doubles. It's his first RBI on the spring, and it's a 5-3 Kansas City lead.
Yeah, dangerous hitter, and his afternoon will be done after he goes 3 for 3. There's a ball middle of the plate down, and he loves it. Perez just drilled it into left center field. So he had a good afternoon against the Indians. We'll plug the gap. Makes it a 5-3 ball game in favor of Kansas City.
Yeah, and so Salvador Perez, you know, he's one of those guys who's obviously a team leader for Kansas City, and he'll be forever in the minds of Royals fans because he got the hit that sent them on in the playoffs in that wild. I turned the game off. I thought they were done. Kansas City come from behind, win over Oakland.
Yeah.
And the walk-off. He had the walk-off hit that beat Oakland in that wild card game.
That's the game. Moss hit 2 home runs, 5 RBIs. Had a 4-run lead in the 8th.
Raymond Fuentes now the pinch runner for Perez. Moises Sierra. Takes a strike. Sierra had a walk-off hit against the Indians last year. That might have hit him. No, just went to the backstop. The wild pitch puts Fuentes at third base with one out. Infield now drawn in for Cleveland. And it's ball 4. And that might be it for Downs. It's been a long inning already for him, but 14 pitches in the at-bat with Omar Infante might have just taken a lot of the steam out of him. And so Terry Francona will make a move to the bullpen here in the 5th with 2 on and 1 out. And Kansas City leading it by a score of 5-3. We've got a timeout. We'll be right back. Well, join us on St. Patrick's Day for our next Cactus League telecast. It'll be the traditional wearing of the green as the Indians take on the Cincinnati Reds. We'll have first pitch at 4 o'clock Eastern on the way to opening day here on Sports Time Ohio. Anthony Swarzak, the new Indians pitcher. He inherits a 1st and 3rd 1-out jam here in the 5th, and the Indians trailing it 5-3. Swarzak appearing in his 3rd spring training game. Former Minnesota right-hander misses inside ball 1. Paulo Orlando ripped that triple to left center his last time up, driving in a pair.
Swarzak looking for the ground ball, see if they can turn a pair and get out of this inning. It's been a long inning so far.
One hopper to second.
Look at the spin on
Waller's
that ball.
to the bag for 1, but Ramirez couldn't get it out of his glove. And the Royals get another run, 2 down in the inning. It was a slow developing play, wasn't it?
Yeah, off the end of the bat, I believe, and it had some spin to it. And watch the spin that I'm surprised Walters, he had to sit back and wait on it. It had the spin, and by the time he gets it over to Ramirez, even if he fields it cleanly, they would not have had a chance. I think Orlando would have beat it out anyway. So the run scores. Kansas City takes a 6-3 lead.
And they are 2 down now for Big Matt Fields. Big chopper to short. Big hop. flip, inning over. Kansas City gets 2 more. Middle of the 5th. It's now the Royals 6 and the Indians 3. Fox Sports Live has all the highlights from the biggest games and the major newsmakers in the sports world. Tonight at 11, only on Fox Sports 1. J.C. Boscan is taking over behind the dish for Kansas City, and their new pitcher is right-hander Casey Coleman, 6 foot, 185-pounder. Born in Fort Myers, Florida. Last year, 34 games for Omaha. He went 5-1 with a 2.15 ERA.
We'll have to call Zap and get our scouting report on Coleman on the mound. From down in Fort Myers.
Played collegiately at Florida Gulf Coast. In fact, he was the first Florida Gulf Coast University player to appear in a major league game. He's part of the only family with 3 generations of big league pitchers.
No kidding.
His dad, Joe Coleman, won 142 games.
That's his dad?
65 to 79
I faced
with
Joe
Detroit.
Coleman. Yeah, he was a good pitcher and also a pitching coach, a very good pitching coach.
And his grandfather, also named Joe, pitched from 1942 to 55 with Philadelphia, Baltimore, and Detroit.
Now that you mentioned it, if that's the family he's out of, they're great pitchers. You would expect no less from this young man.
Ramirez taking, just missed. And a 2-2 count. Ramirez, an RBI ground out in the first, struck out his last time up. And that ball's hit high in the air, deep right center. Sierra into the gap, makes the catch. So Kansas City made it to Game 7 of the World Series last year, but they definitely had their share of defections in the offseason, saying goodbye to Billy Butler, Aoki, James Shields, Crow, and Bueno out of the bullpen. But they picked up Alex Rios, the veteran, Kenry Morales, Volquez, Chris Medlin. The additions don't quite equal the losses, though, do they?
No, no. You're not going to replace James Shields for that ball club. But, you know, Alex Rios had a down year in Texas last year. Morales didn't sign till late. He was with Seattle, so he got off to a slow start. You know, they're hoping that those guys can bounce back. Edison Volquez did okay with the Pirates. He had a pretty good year, but he's not going to replace Shields. but it should be a decent park for him to pitch in.
I almost get the feeling, Rick, that for Kansas City, they want Yordano Ventura to replace James Shields. So there needs to be a progression, if you will, if they're going to replace James Shields collectively.
I don't understand. I understand what they're thinking. But, Ventura is a young kid. I think he's only going to be 24. He will be a #1 starter. He has #1 starter stuff. There's no question about it. Whether he goes out there and he can handle being a #1 starter, that takes a little experience and know-how. Not to say his stuff doesn't equate to being #1. We'll see how it rolls this year. And I understand how they would love for him to be the #1 guy. Not easy to do.
Hey, teams like Kansas City, Cleveland, you know the teams. You get a guy like James Shields, it would be no different if the Indians were in the same contract year with Corey Kluber. You have that kind of a year, you win a Cy Young, you get to that level, you become a free agent. Whoa! Bat went flying towards the mound, but Coleman gets out of the way. Moncrief aboard with a single. You just can't afford to lay out that kind of money for 6 years or more and tie up that kind of investment in a starting pitcher. Just can't do it.
Right. I agree wholeheartedly. Watch the barrel of this bat. Coleman had to be thinking about get out of the way. It was coming right toward him. He picked up the barrel of the bat, though, and got out of the way as that ball goes into center field as a base hit. Yeah, I mean, when you're in the middle market teams in Kansas City, their payroll's going to go up, and that's what happens when you win. It goes up and up and up if you have to afford other players and they're through their arbitration years and you have to sign a free agent or two. They chose to
oh boy, Santana smokes it deep right. Goodbye.
Boy, that took about a second to get out of here.
Santana's first home run of the spring. He has a 2-hit afternoon, drives in a pair, and the Indians now trail it by a run at 6-5.
Remember that weekend he had in Kansas City? Santana hitting the home runs. Everything he was hitting was out of sight. I think he had 5 homers. I mean, watch the swing on this. This is a line drive, and this took about, I'm saying, 2 seconds. And we put a stopwatch to this. It was a vicious line drive. You could hang clothes on it. Watch this. Right into the seats in no time. The official, 3.6 seconds from our elephant thumb fingers on the stopwatch. Mr. James Murphy down in the truck.
I don't think he could start it and stop it that fast if he wanted to.
I know. He's getting his work in this spring. We're hiring him as a scout as well. He works for a bag of peanuts down here in spring training.
Oh, close, but just off the dish, 1-2. Aviles has popped up and lined out in his 2 trips today. A little bit outside again, 2-2. July 27th last year. He had a 2-homer game against Kansas City. What a diving stop, but not in time with the throw as Aviles has an infield single.
It's going to do it for Mike Aviles. He'll be done for the afternoon. Ends on a base hit. A nice effort out there by, is that Roberts or Colon? See if they pulled Colon out, not sure. It was a good play, and it goes as a hit, though, for Aviles because he was able to beat it out.
And Michael Martinez?
Yes.
So you're talking about that weekend, Rick. Santana, July 25th and 27th. Went 9 for 14 in the 4-game series with 5 homers, 8 runs batted in.
Yeah, he was unbelievable that weekend. 5 homers. What happened here? Did Walters do something with that swing? Looks like
Well, remember, a year ago, he He suffered a pretty serious injury.
Take a look at it from the side. Let's see if we pick anything out. Yeah, you can see him grimace up there. There's something wrong. Well, that's not a good sign.
No, sure isn't, especially as I mentioned last year. He had a terrific surge where he hit 7 home runs in 30 games for the Indians. But, you know, like sort of towards the end of the season, we noticed we just didn't look the same at the plate. And then he came out after the year and revealed that he was trying to play through a muscle injury. I don't know if it was a torn muscle, but kind of in that rib cage area. And that's why you worry. Any kind of discomfort he feels in that area, hope it's not re-aggravating the injury that he suffered a year ago.
Well, hard to tell because you don't see him put a hand at something where it hurts. You know, it's hard to tell from that swing, but something happened because look at his face. Yeah. There's something that doesn't feel right. Well, we'll have to wait and find out tomorrow.
So continuing the at-bat now is Ryan Rollinger with an 0-1 count. Up high. Cuts and misses. One-two pitch. So we learn way more about anatomy than we ever wanted to know sometimes doing this job. But for Zach Walters, he revealed it was a torn intercostal, which I think is rib cage. I'm not exactly sure.
Yeah, it is. That happens nowadays to a lot of hitters where, they tear a little bit of that muscle off a rib cage.
There's
the oblique.
There's not an ounce of fat on the guy either.
I know it. That's a scary thing.
Before the 3-2 pitch, a toss to first drives Michael Martinez back to the bag. He takes off, does Martinez. It's ball 4. So 4 straight have reached for the Indians since Jose Ramirez started the inning with a fly ball out to right field. Tried down a run, 6-5 here in the bottom of the 5th inning, and Jesus Aguilar coming to the plate. You know, I was talking to Dave Wallace, who's the Indians AA manager, earlier today, him and pitching coach Jeff Harris, and we were talking about old-time players, and Wally was saying, boy, I'd have loved to have been able to, just see kind of in person what did Babe Ruth look like as a baseball player, because he said, today our guys are definitely bigger and they're faster and they're a lot more muscular, the physical conditioning, but he said those guys had to be in some kind of serious baseball shape, meaning like from their elbows to their fingertips they were probably they look like Popeye.
No question. And they swung heavier bats. They don't swing the little toothpicks. These guys swing 30, 31, 32-ounce bats.
There were no skinny handles back there. They looked like they were swinging tree trunks.
Yeah.
Some of those bats, you look at them, the barrel almost is as big as the handle.
I know. The U1s, the bat they used to have. Yeah, I was. It's funny. I don't know if you see bats like that anymore.
No. We got Mike Aviles hooking up down in the dugout now. Well, sneak attack, huh? Coming in mid-inning?
Well, sure. Hey, man, I'm versatile, you know. I got to show you guys I'm versatile. I'll come mid-inning, after the inning.
You want to come on because you just got a base hit. That's why you wanted to come on.
No, those are the hard hits where you got to really bust your butt down the line to get down there.
Mike Avila started in left field. Then we had a lineup change. He goes to third base, and now he's a guest analyst for the half inning. So he truly is the versatile.
Just got to wear every hat I have, right?
That's absolutely right. Hey, we showed video earlier today as Aguilar fouls one back. You know, people think you guys just show up, take a few swings, run a few sprints, get ready and play the game. But you're here at 8:30 in the morning.
Really? I thought I just showed up for the game and just played baseball this whole time.
We have video proof. You were here at 8:30 in the morning, taking ground balls, working on double play turns. How much do you get out of those daily workouts?
You wouldn't believe how much. You actually get more out of those kind of sessions than you do out of actually taking ground balls during BP. You know, because during BP the big thing is you're dodging line drives because guys are hitting, you know, seeds all over the place, and so it's always good when you can get your extra work early, get it out of the way where there's, you know, nothing but us just working on. That ball's hit pretty decent.
Center fielder Starling back. He's got room. Takes the catch.
But yeah, anytime you can get the work done without having to worry about like batting practice or anything else coming at you, it makes it more game-like. You can take things the right way. You can take your momentum the right way. You can, you know, you can work on the things that you need to work on personally.
Mike, we're showing the video right now, and I know you can't see it, but when you're at second base, ball's hit to your left, you don't square and step towards the bag. It almost looks like you're falling backwards when you throw it. How do you work on that? Because I think of young players. You don't see young kids trying that maneuver.
No, it's kind of an athletic movement.
I love it. I love it.
No, in all honesty, it's one of those plays where you're busting your tail to get to over there to get to that ball, and when you finally get it and you spin back around with so much, you know, torque and everything, you throw that ball. It's kind of like, all right, I don't really care where my body goes now, but I've thrown the ball exactly where I needed to. My squares were squared when I needed to get it to second base. So it's like you see the aftermath where people are like falling back, and it kind of looks funny, but in all honesty, like everything is all squared away when it needs to be. So it's definitely a tough play, I'll tell you that much. It's not the easiest stopping your momentum going one way.
Well, you make it look smooth. That's all that matters.
I appreciate that. I try.
Right. Thanks, Mike. Appreciate you stopping by.
Anytime, guys. Have a good one.
All right, Indians get a pair. They close to within a run, 6-5 Kansas City as we go to the 6th. All right, so we go now to the 6th inning, 6-5 Kansas City. Ryan Rollinger takes over at third base. Eric Gonzalez, the new shortstop. Michael Martinez is now at second. Audi Siriaco is at first base. Brett Hayes takes over behind the dish. Anthony Swarzak got the last out of the 5th inning. Stays on here to pitch in the 6th, and Christian Colon leading it off. Had an RBI single his last time up. Up the corner. And the 2-2 rifled right up the middle.
Well, become a Tribe season ticket holder today with a 20-game package for as low as $199. You get great seats, great prices, Tribe Rewards membership, and postseason priority. Just go to Indians.com. Check out the ticket details.
Ryan Jackson has had a good day. He has singled, walked, stolen a bag, and scored a run. Takes a strike. No surprise to see Anthony Swarzak throwing strikes. Anybody that comes out of that Minnesota system, it is drilled into their head from day one. Be a strike thrower. And we saw a lot of that last year from Cleveland, too. I mean, you know, Mickey Callaway and the staff, the way they tutor the young pitchers, Rick, they don't mess around and walk guys. They set the record for strikeouts as a staff.
Right.
So that tells you how they attack right there.
Well, aggressiveness. I mean, any pitching coach will tell you, hey, let's throw strike one. Let's get ahead in the count. That makes it that much easier. Saying it and doing it, two different things, you know. But the pitchers now are buying into it, and I think by far they're buying into that because they watched their best pitcher last year do just that. Corey Kluber went out and threw strikes and pounded the strike zone between 65 and 70% strikes every time he went out there. And, you know, when you prove it, I mean, you learn from other players. You know, the coaches can tell you. It's like a kid listening to your dad. I'm going to believe somebody else, you know, instead of your dad. But that's just the way it works.
Cleveland struck out 1,450 batters last year, a new major league record for a single season.
And it's not like they try to strike them out. They come because they're making quality pitches, and you get ahead in the count, and they get hitters to chase pitches out of the strike zone when they're ahead. They have to swing at their pitch, and for any pitcher, it's so much easier when you're pitching from in front of the count.
Raul Mondesi Jr. swing and a miss. Up high. His dad was the 1994 National League Rookie of the Year, speaking of Raul Mondesi. Played with the Dodgers, Blue Jays, Yankees, Diamondbacks, even finished up with the Pirates, Angels, and Braves. I think I misspoke. He's actually not Raul Jr. His older brother is Raul Jr., and he played for Milwaukee and Tampa in their minor league system.
So this is Raul the third.
I guess he would be the third, wouldn't he? Mondesi was signed by Kansas City in 2011. And he's only going to be 19 years old this year, so certainly a guy that could develop for Kansas City. In the air center field, Tyler Naquin will make the catch. Perfect throw to his cutoff man. One down with two aboard here in the sixth. Indians trailing it by a run. So we talked about what Kansas City did in the offseason. This is a look at Chicago. Paul Konerko retired. Marcus Semien went to Oakland, but look what they added to their ball club.
Well, they added a closer in Robertson, starter in Smarja, and then you got a nice outfield bat, Melky Cabrera, and then LaRoche should really help that team with the big boy Abreu at first base to give him some time off, because LaRoche is a really solid defensive first baseman. So they did. They made some really key moves. But they got bad news early with, we were talking about Chris Sale, who ended up, a little slight fracture in his ankle.
Yeah, he tried to claim that it was nothing more than just a sprained ankle, but it sounds like it's obviously worse than just that.
Well, I don't think he'll be ready for opening day. So, and I think Kansas City will be happy with that, too.
And it's his right ankle, right? So it's the one he has to land on.
I think so, yes.
Bubba Starling singled and scored in the 5th.
Well, we'll get them early. They'll be in Cleveland in our first homestand. And then we'll go visit them in Chicago, our first road trip with Minnesota, Chicago, and Detroit.
Yeah.
You know, so we're stuck in our division like most clubs are, I think, anytime you look at it.
Look, everybody's dealing with injuries too, Rick. At this point in camp, you've got obviously what happened. Oh, boy, that's yanked deep left field. That's going to go all the way to the fence. One hops the wall. Coming around third, Colon will score. Into third is Jackson. And Bubba Starling is 2 for 2 with a single and a double. And now a run batted in.
Well, I'll tell you what, this young man 2 times at the plate, and he was impressive. Put another good swing on this ball, and he's fun to watch. Look at Strong gets that pitch down in the zone and drives it to left field. And he can run a little bit. All the way to the wall, so Kansas City comes back. They've scored in 4 straight innings. They make it 7-5. And a chance now with just 1 out to add on. They have second and third, and the Indians will bring their infield in.
Omar Infante 0 for 3 on the day. Yanks it foul. Well, I mean, okay, so we had Indians had to deal with Gavin Floyd. He's done maybe for the year. Who knows? Obviously, for the foreseeable future, they won't have him with a refracturing of his pitching elbow. We talked about with Chicago what they're dealing with Chris Sale. Kansas City's got Omar Infante and Alex Gordon a little dinged up here. Hopefully, in their case, they'll be ready for the start of the regular season. But then you look at Detroit, similar situation there. You've got Victor Martinez and Miguel Cabrera dealing with injuries, but seemingly should be ready to go for the start of the year, but you never know for sure.
This will be fun right here. This will be fun.
Jackson tags. Moncrief's throw to the plate. He is safe. Oh, what a throw by Moncrief, and Hayes did a pretty good job to get the tag down. But home plate umpire Anthony Johnson giving the safe call that the foot got in there ahead of the tag.
Boy, oh boy, he has a good arm. You know what? And it looks like he does get his foot in. When you look at Hayes behind the plate, let's see where he catches the ball. And he had the ball in plenty of time, but he gets the foot in by the time he could tag him. That would be interesting. I'd love to see that. And, that's one you may challenge during the year.
Yeah.
I knew it was going to be interesting. Moncrief has a very good arm. Made a strong throw. And, when your arm's that accurate and strong in spring training, it's only going to get better once the season progresses. I think watch the foot. He doesn't get the glove over there in time. He misses him. Yeah. He doesn't. He slides into him and hits his knee. If he could have got the glove down on the ground where he slides into it, then he would have had him. But the ball certainly beat him.
Tap towards short. Gonzalez unloads in a hurry, and the inning is over. Kansas City gets 2 more. They've scored in 4 straight innings, and they now lead at 8-5. Palm trees here in Goodyear. KC with an 8-5 advantage as we move now to the bottom of the 6th. And the new pitcher will be Ryan Madsen. Last couple of years with Philadelphia. Take a look at his numbers. Hasn't pitched in the big league since 2011. He had Tommy John surgery and missed the entire season in 2012. He pitched one minor league game last year. 2 years ago, excuse me.
Is that with the Angels? Or did he?
Inland Empire. Not sure. Is that the Mets? Oh, yeah, the Angels. He granted him his outright release.
Yeah.
So been a long road back for Ryan Madsen. But like so many guys that go through that late in their career, they want to go out on their terms. So even if it's just getting back into one game, at least you can say, okay, I made it back.
Well, it's a lot of hard work to get back when you have a surgery, whether it's Tommy John, even the shoulder surgery, tougher to come back from. But
up the middle, nice diving stop. Throw in
nice
time.
Play.
Brett Hayes robbed of a hit on a terrific play by Roberts, who went up the middle and dove. Was able to get to his feet.
Yeah, they just put him into the game, and he ranges far to his right on his belly, gets up and throws, and they just get him at first base. A great play by Ryan Roberts. Very nice.
Ryan Roberts, that's the guy. I thought that was the guy we used to see with the Diamondbacks because he had those crazy tattoos.
Yeah, he was playing third base for him. I think he went to Toronto, Tampa. Yeah, those aren't sleeves.
A lot of ink, but he can play. He can pick it. He has more than 30 tattoos. And
while
he was with Arizona, they nicknamed him not Tattoo, which would have been, I think, a better nickname, but they called him Tat Man.
Tat Man, not Tattoo. The plane boss. He had to get in his rich Corinthian leather car. And
oh my. Naquin ropes it in the right
get that one.
Tyler Naquin aboard with one out here in the 6th.
Here you get a look at the Royals defense. Adams in left, Starling in center, Bonifacio in right. Dozier at third, Mondesi at short. Roberts made that wonderful play at second. And we're gonna, oh no, that was the bat boy coming out to first base to get some stuff. We are all square.
Eric Gonzalez fouling it off. Gonzalez taking over for Jose Ramirez, who was 0 for 3 today with a run batted in. Tyler Naquin aboard at first. Terrific speed. Just off the plate. Eric Gonzalez is 23 years old. Made it to Double-A Akron last year, and in the 31 games he played for Dave Wallace and the Rubber Ducks, he batted .357. Bounces this one to third. To second for one. Roberts able to turn an inning-ending double play. 6 complete from Goodyear. 8-5 Kansas City.
That'll be beginning Monday. That'll be March 9th. Head down to the ballpark, Progressive Field, see Kluber, Brantley, Gomes, and the rest of the Indians compete for the Central Division title. Visit Indians.com/tickets for the details.
New pitcher for Cleveland is Charles Brewer. Coming on to work here in the 7th inning. Brewer was acquired by the Arizona Diamondbacks this past offseason. He was originally a 12th round pick of the D-backs back in '09. Last year between AA and AAA he was 11-12 with a 4.46 ERA. Jorge Bonifacio leading off for Kansas City. Up and in. Out of play. Bonifacio, 21 years old. Spent the full year at AA a season ago. It's one of those things when you're just 20 years old, you're just trying to survive. You get 230 with 4 homers, 51 driven in, but played a career high 132 games.
Yeah, that's it. Getting used to the long season.
He is the younger brother of Emilio Bonifacio, by the way. Down the right field line, over into the corner.
Down there again.
Couldn't get to that one. It's up in the seats.
Yeah, he has a little better size than his brother.
Yeah.
He's a big kid.
They list him at 6'1", but 220 pounds. Checked on a ball a little bit low. Swings and rolls it to third, and Rollinger throws him out. So we've talked about the Royals, and we've talked about the White Sox. Then there are the Detroit Tigers. They are, after all, the Central Division champions, the reigning champs of the division. And they've overmade their team quite a bit in the offseason. Torrey Hunter goes back to Minnesota, Scherzer to Washington, Porcello now in Boston. But they have Cespedes and a bunch of other guys.
Well, yeah. I mean, Ghost, he came from Toronto. Alfredo Simon, of course, from Cincinnati, trying to fill that role. You lose Scherzer, though. That's a big hit.
Yeah, their additions did not equal their losses. But they had a really good team to begin with, so it's not out of the question. You expect them still to be.
They have the big
there.
horses. They certainly do. They still have David Bryson. You've got Verlander over there, and let's see, Sanchez, who was hurt a little bit last year. He's still a quality pitcher.
Chopper towards third. Rollinger with a terrific stop. Throws. Not in time. It was a little high, but it wasn't so much that. I just don't think he had enough time to get him out.
Great effort. Made a beautiful play to stab the baseball. He knew he had to get up in a hurry and throw it. And even though it was a little high, I don't know if he brought
Audie Siriaco stayed
off
on
the base.
bag,
Well, it was close, but it was going to be. He had to get rid of it, and he realized. Nice play. Spins, picks it up, and it's a little high.
No, he was off the bag.
He was up and off the base. Still don't know if he would have had it, but a good effort.
Chelsea Cuthbert, runner goes, and a throw not in time. So Adams with the stolen base. Second steal of the day for Kansas City. They've been caught once. Brewer deals, and Cuthbert takes a called strike. Just did off the dish. Chelsea Cuthbert out of Nicaragua. Adams in scoring position. The stolen base put him there. 2-2 pitch to Cuthbert. Breaking ball hit to right field. Back goes Moncrief. Looking up, and it is gone. Chelsea Cuthbert drives it out of here for a 2-run shot, and it's a 10-5 Kansas City lead.
Well, that one got up into the wind, and it took off. It was a hanging breaking ball out up over the plate, but you got to juice it to get it out. He went opposite. And I'll tell you, that thing carried very well, but there it is, a high breaking ball. Stayed back, let it track deep into the zone. He put a good swing on it, and that ball carries. So a 2-run homer, and they have scored in their last 5 innings. with a lot of crooked numbers. 1 in the 3rd, 3 in the 4th, 2 in the 5th, 6th, and 7th.
Here is Christian Colon swinging a miss, or rather Ryan Roberts, who came on for Colon. And he sends one to center field. Naquin backpedaling. Makes the grab. 2 down. Well, wrapping up our look at the American League Central Division comings and goings. Twins welcome back Torrey Hunter.
Yes.
Irvin Santana to try to help their starting rotation.
And a new manager, Paul Muller, going to take over the Twins' helm this year.
After Ron Gardenhire's very successful run at the helm. Hunter Dozier getting his first at bat here today after Ryan Jackson was 2 for 2 with 2 singles, stolen base, and 2 runs scored out of that 9th spot on the order. Tied him up. Good pitch. Hunter Dozier is from Denton, Texas. Came into this year as one of the top 5 prospects in the Royals system, according to Baseball America.
Who else do we know that's from Denton, Texas? I'll have to think about that.
Well, there's a guy by the name of Denton True Young who was in the Hall of Fame, better known as Cy. But he's not from Denton, Texas. Nice play by Siriaco, and his foot's off the bag this time, according to the first base umpire. Made a nice scoop.
Yes, he did.
But evidently the foot was off the bag.
He digs it out, and I don't know if his foot jumped up.
Looked like it just slid off the base. See it flat on the ground. It just slid off the bag, and umpire saw daylight. That's all
I
he needed.
guess. He had a better angle than we did.
Raul Mondesi flied to center back in the 6th. Raul Mondesi with a runner at first and 2 down here in the 7th inning.
Your rookies need to learn the OHIO, Terry. They didn't know it.
Pops it up. Shallow right. Out goes Martinez. In comes Moncrief.
There we go.
And the inning is over. Stretch time in Goodyear. 10-5 KC. Before today's ball game, the Cleveland Indians were honored with the Bobby Mercer Award from the Baseball Assistance Team, which represents the most money donated to bat by an American League team from last year. And Josh Tomlin, there's Carlos Carrasco, TJ House, and Zach McAllister were all out there to accept the award on behalf of the Indians.
Yeah, and that's a nice. The assistance team, the bat team, you know, it helps out former players that can't afford anything, you know, old timers and
guys
everything,
that have
their
fallen
families falling on tough times. It does a really nice job. And the Indians have donated the most money to that this year, so congratulations to them.
Carlos Moncrief leads off the bottom of the 7th. New pitcher is Christian Binford. Made stops at all 3 levels last year for Kansas City. Moncrief bangs it to second. Roberts throws him out. 1 down. Ali Siriaco gets an opportunity to bat here. Almost look like rain clouds overhead.
Yeah, I was just thinking this is a good day where it's cloudy. If the sun was out and it was baking, this game has had a little pace to it. It would be a lot longer. Those guys would be a lot more tired than what they are. They look like rain clouds, but we're not going to see any.
Nice crowd too today here in Goodyear. Just a shade under 5,000, 4,803.
Well, Surprise being just about 20 minutes away from this complex here. It's over in the west suburbs of Phoenix.
We'll televise again on St. Patrick's Day.
Yeah.
Against the Cincinnati Reds.
Going to wear some green for Tuesday?
We are. We're going to wear it. We're breaking out the green.
Gotcha.
2 down as Siriaco is down on strikes. Michael Martinez swings at the first pitch, fouls it out of play. Indians have a split squad effort tomorrow. Half of the group will stay here and play the Arizona Diamondbacks. The other half will head to Mesa to play the Chicago Cubs. Checked him, was low, did not go around. Breaking ball, got him. Good inning for Christian Binford as the Indians go in order. We'll head to the 8th. 10-5 Kansas City.
Cleveland Indians and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. And the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Cleveland Indians.
Kansas City leading it by a score of 10-5. We go to the 8th inning, and a new Indians pitcher is in the ballgame. KCA AT CLE. Began last year in Columbus, and then got to the big league level. Was up and down a few times. Guy that really Terry Francona has been high on him for a couple of years.
They like him. He's got a different arm angle. He can be awfully tough on right-handers when he's on his game.
Bubba Starling impressive today. 2 for 2, a single, a double, an RBI, a run scored. And he can pick him up and put him down watching him run the bases. You know, we talked earlier, Rick, about the injury problems that Omar Infante has been dealing with the nagging elbow injury, and Alex Gordon coming back from wrist surgery. Both appear to be well on their way to being ready for opening day. The same cannot be said for Tim Collins, whose year is officially over after he had Tommy John surgery.
It's a left-hander coming out of their bullpen.
Yeah, 25-year-old. He threw a curveball back on March 4th in his spring training debut, and Ned Yost said that's when he first started feeling it. Then he threw 7 or so pitches after that, and it kept getting tighter. They did the MRI, and that revealed the damage to the ulnar collateral ligament.
They'll put a little maybe more pressure on the rookie from last year, Brandon Finnegan, who did a nice job for them coming out of the bullpen, although he could be a starter as well.
Well, that's why they've got Franklin Morales in camp, taking a look at him. Starling draws the walk.
He's been on all 3 times today.
And it will bring up Omar Infante. Sac fly his last time up.
Indians trying to just put a 0 on the board. They haven't been able to do it since the 2nd inning. Kansas City has scored in 5 straight.
Back out of play. High fly ball, right field near the line. In comes Moncrief. Makes the catch just inside the line for out number 1. So Bubba Starling for Kansas City, told you he had 2 hits. Singled sharply through the left side of the infield. And then he yanked this one down the line.
Yeah, so the young man been on all 3 times today, able to show the Royals brass, hey, I want to play. He looks like a good young player.
Martinez, what a stop. Goes to second. There's one spin and a throw. Double play. Oh, a spectacular spring training twin killing turn by Martinez and Gonzalez. The inning is over. Royals still lead it by 5. After the game for Drennan Live, he'll take your calls and talk about the ball game and the upcoming season. Drennan Live following the ball game right here on Sports Time Ohio. Here in the home half of the 8th, it will be Ryan Rollinger and Jesus Aguilar and Tyler Holt. One of the new things in baseball this year will be the addition of a clock.
Right.
Now, one of the beautiful things about baseball has always been that there is no clock. And I guess technically there really still is no clock, because the clock that we're referring to is only for between innings, just to kind of keep everybody on their toes and keep everybody moving.
It's a start.
But it was interesting, and I was talking to Dave Wallace before the earlier in the day, and who's the manager of AA Akron, and he said, I think, there's Wally, he said, I think you're going to see it, that players know if there's a clock, if they see a clock on the field, in the back of their mind, they're going to pick up the pace a little bit. They're going to want to get out of the dugout, get out there on the field so they know they get their warm-up throws in. He said it's almost like a psychological thing. An athlete sees a clock, and all of a sudden he puts himself on that clock, and he just creates maybe a sense of urgency to get moving.
They started the clock for hitters in the fall league out here in Arizona, and they'll have it down at AAA. I mean, they're going to test it on the minor leaguers first to see if they bring it up into the major leaguers. That's why at the major league level, hitters have to keep 1 foot in the box,
right?
At all times for the most part.
But Dave said, and I think he makes a good point here, this is a generational thing, Rick. If you set the tone in the minor leagues, if you create, hey, this is the way we play, by the time that wave gets to the big leagues,
right,
they're already used to that more up-tempo, hey, let's not dilly-dally around. Or what was the line in Bull Durham? Lollygag?
Yeah.
Line drive to right field. And a base hit for Rollinger. It'll be something for fans to watch, whether it's at a big league ball game or if you make the rounds to the Indians minor league affiliates in Akron or downstate in Columbus or over in Lake County or Mahoning Valley, because, well, as you said, Rick, they'll all have those clocks, and it's just something to see. How does this work, and will it truly be beneficial?
You know what? I think if the players have to keep their 1 foot in the box, we heard Mickey Callaway say today, you want your pitchers to get in your rhythm, stay on there. They're not going to need 20 seconds to throw the ball. It's the key is getting them to stay in the box. Back in the day, the umpires used to pretty much patrol a game on their own. They'd get you to move in and out of that dugout. Let's go. Come on, hustle. Let's move on. They'd tell you as a hitter, if you were walking around or pulling your gloves up, or they'd say, get back in the box or I'm going to call a strike. They pretty much enforce it on themselves. And you as a player, when you were a young player coming up, you abided by it. You didn't take a stroll. Let's go. You want to stay in the box. There were times when you had to slow pitchers down because they worked so quickly. A guy like Jim Cott, for example. He came out, man, that guy, he'd get the ball, he'd throw it back as quick as he got it back.
Hate to pick on Grover because he seems to always be the poster boy for the hitters who adjust the batting gloves and all the thing. But do you remember, did umpires get on him for that? Did they try to
sure they did. And, he earned that respect to get up there. But, sitting at your team, that was the way he had to hit. That's what made him concentrate. And, if he had to do something else, he probably wouldn't have been able to. But I'm sure he took his share of abuse from umpires because he took it from his own teammates. We were yelling at him to get back in. So I'm sure the umpires were.
Aguilar awaiting the 1-2. Another throw to first. Normally in a 10-5 game, guy at first isn't thinking about stealing. Maybe they want their pitcher Binford to work on keeping those runners close, though. Aguilar yanks it to left field. He's got a base hit. His second of the day and his 7th hit on the spring in 14 at-bats.
Got himself a breaking ball he's able to pick on and turn. See, they slide away, but it did not get away. That thing came down to about the middle of the plate and low, and Aguilar put a nice swing on it, so it's back-to-back singles here to start the 8th.
And out comes Tyler Holton, who is 0 for 3. Swung on and missed. And it's quickly 0-2. Catcher Brett Hayes waits on deck. Then Tyler Naquin follows him. Upstairs, a ball and 2 strikes. Kansas City 10 runs on 15 hits today. The Indians 5 runs on a dozen hits. 2 of those 12 hits for Cleveland have left the yard. Way outside, evens the count, 2 balls, 2 strikes. With 2 on, nobody out here in the bottom of the 8th. It's a good thing you stopped and got a new windshield wiper, because we hear it's raining in Peoria, Arizona right now.
I don't believe it. It's just rumors.
Here's the 2-2. Holt strikes out, 1 away. 3rd K for Binford. Good to see the Indians get loose a little bit offensively. How about Roberto Perez?
Well, he hit a bomb. That was the deep left field. 2-runner back in the 2nd inning, and then
Santana with a stinger.
Yeah, I mean, just a vicious line drive. 3.6 seconds to be exact to get out of this ballpark.
One out. Brett Hayes at the plate. Well, we get the medical update on Zach Walters. They tell us it's a right abdominal strain.
Not good, huh? We don't know if that was the same one as last year.
Yeah, you figure it's some way it's sort of connected. For Ryan Rayburn, I thought it seemed odd that he left as early as he did, but in spring training you never know. Turns out he's got a little left knee discomfort. And both Walters and Rayburn
not good.
Listed as day-to-day. One pitch. Hayes down on the count. Yeah, you think all the way back to Rayburn when he had that base hit early in the game. It was a double, but he lost his wheels halfway between first and second base. Maybe that had something to do with him leaving the game early. Rip foul.
Well, you're right. I didn't think about that, but he drives the ball to right center field, and it's not that he wasn't overextending. It was just cruising into second base, catches a cleat, and there's the left knee. Lands on that. I don't know if it had anything to do with it.
This is a time of year where you want to be precautionary all the time. Hayes is hit, the bases are loaded. So especially if you're a veteran. Now, if you're a young player and you're trying to push it and make a team, and you might not say anything. But if you're Ryan Rayburn, if you feel anything that's not completely normal, you might say, yeah, something doesn't feel right.
I understand what you're saying there, but a lot of times when you got to play the way you always play the game. And if it's 100%, you know what I mean?
I understand that, but I'm just saying the reason you might take yourself out now as opposed to if this is May or June.
I got you.
You might say, hey, you know what? Yeah, let's get him out of there.
Sure,
yeah.
Sure. I see what you're saying.
And hopefully that's the case.
There's no question.
Now Tyler Naquin, bases loaded, 1 out. He singled his first time up in the 6th.
Base hit here or there, the Indians can get themselves right back in it.
Make one, chops one up the middle. Roberts on the second for the turn and a double play. So the Royals get out of the jam with a twin killer. And we head to the ninth. 10-5 Royals. (10-5) Kansas City. And we roll on out to the ninth inning. Trying to do a headstand. Not working out real well.
Not when you're on an incline.
Jeff Manship coming on for Cleveland. The pitch here in the ninth inning. And Kansas City leading at 10-5. Jorge Bonifacio, Lane Adams, and Chelsea Cuthbert due up for KC. Oh my, right into the glove, and that's
why you
what
bring
you
it.
were talking about too, with the way the fence or the screen, the way it's angled down toward the end of the dugout. That ball just barely cleared the screen, and the young man just threw his glove up and said, "I got this, no problem."
Yeah, he didn't have to move. He was sort of turning to the side because he wasn't sure it was going to get to him, but he made the play.
Well done, young man. Bonifacio can't hold up. Royals Hall of Famer George Brett made the trip over from the Royal Spring Training Complex today. He's in uniform down in the Kansas City dugout. Playing against him all those years, you had a good chance to watch his approach. Well, what made him such an incredibly consistent hitter day in, day out?
Well, he first of all used the whole field. He hit the ball where it was pitched, and he kept his bat through the hitting area about as long as anybody can. And boy, what a pretty swing he had, and what a gamer he was.
Pretty good swing by Bonifacio. He's on his way to second base. And he's got a leadoff double for Kansas City.
Well, the Royals have had 16 hits today. And their starting catcher, Salvador Perez, he had a heck of a day. This one just finds the space for a little double there, and then he's going to plug a gap. He only had 2 hits coming into all the spring training. He had 3 today. So a good afternoon for Salvador. Get all your hits against us right now. Because when the year starts, they don't want to see that.
Lane Adams, single, a stolen base, and a run scored. Kansas City had great teams mid to late 70s, early 80s. Would they have achieved World Series championships? Would they have been as good without Brett?
No.
Oh, you can't say that. There's
no.
But I guess my question is, was he the driving force? Was he the catalyst in your mind?
Yeah, no question. I mean, they had a great team. But, yeah, I mean, you got guys on the Willie Wilson who could run and lead off and steal bases and get on base. Frank White, who was a tremendous second baseman and hit. And this guy was in the number 3 hole. That was the best hitter in all of baseball, approached 400 one year. And then you had Hal McRae hitting behind him, and you had a bunch of other guys that fit in. They had a good team, but he was the main man sitting in the middle of that lineup. And they also had very good pitching as well. They dominated the Western Division for all those years after Oakland had its run, and they were over in, 72, 3, and 4. And then Kansas City started to take over and dominated. Their nemesis was the New York Yankees that they couldn't get by for a while.
I always love the fact that George Brett used to say, I want my last at bat to be a ground ball to second base, and I want to be thrown out by half a step, just so I show all the young players that this is how you play the game.
No, that's true. I mean, you play it hard, it doesn't matter. But he had 3,000 hits. That was his wish. My wish would be hit a home run and cruise around the base so I wouldn't have to run hard to first.
He had enough hits, right?
Yeah,
I want to be thrown out.
Yeah, well over 3,000. Not me.
Three-two pitch. Out of play by Adams.
But, I mean, that's the thing. That's how you watch the game. Every hitter should do that. You used to have to do that because if you didn't, you stood out, like there was something wrong if you didn't hustle. Nowadays, when you see somebody hustle down the first base line, and they go, wow, that kid really hustles. Well, everybody should. How tough is it to run hard to first base if you hit 4 ground balls in a game? That's how you play the game because you never know. The time you don't is when they'll boot the ball or they'll throw it away and you could have reached by an error, and I'll tell you, it teaches you a lesson.
I think we're starting to see more of that. I think we're starting to see more guys.
You should
go all out, whatever their all out is. And granted, everybody's got different speed levels, but
yeah, but when your best player does that on a daily basis, which George Brett was, and he believed that. I played with the Brewers where Robin Yount and Paul Molitor, your best players, they believe that. You run everything out. I mean, that sets the tone for the rest of the team. When your better players are not hustling down that line, that is not a good example. Because they think you can get away with it, well, then they can do it too.
There was a time, I think, when Grady Sizemore set that example with the Indians.
Yes, he did. That's why you love the guy, because he always gave it his all. Everybody nowadays, you get caught into watching all the highlights, and what do you see on the highlights? They want to see the game-saving, either game-winning hit, a game-saving catch, or all the.
Adams strikes out as the first base umpire said he went too far. 1 away.
Well, let's see. Yeah, no question.
Jelser Cuthbert got a hanging breaking ball and banged it out to the opposite field his last time up. 2-run shot to right. Bangs this one towards third. Rollinger looks the runner back to second. 2 down. Well, I go back to earlier today, and Michael Bourne, second time up. Bourne hits what looks like a routine ground ball, but he got out of the box like his hair was on fire. He forced a close play at first, and he beats it out. He caused, maybe his speed caused a little indecision on the part of that Kansas City defense.
They were shaky early in this game as well. Here's what you're talking about. Yes, and a play that probably the first baseman should have let go. I think the mistake was on the first baseman on that play, and he made Danny Duffy have to come all the way onto the mound, and he just didn't have a chance to look for the base.
And how many times as a left-handed hitter have you done that where you roll over and you're kind of mad at yourself for rolling over, But Borney, you saw him right from the get-go. Head down, full speed. Let's go.
You can be mad at yourself, but you can still run hard. And, you can always kick yourself at the end. That's 90 feet. Just go hard for 90 feet.
Outside, it's 3-0. Runner at second, 2 down. And Ryan Roberts at the plate. Fly to center is only time up. Bangs foul, third base side. And a full count. He misses, ball 4. The inning continues with 2 on, 2 out. And Hunter Dozier to the dish. One ball, one strike.
That wind has picked up a little bit as this game has progressed, and it's sort of shifted. Seems like it's turning around and starting to blow it in now from center field.
Yeah. Well, it was clearly blowing out to right back in the 7th inning when Cuthbert got that home run. Not that he didn't hit it hard, but he got it up and it
hit it well. But
flew out of here.
Yeah, it did.
And the 2-1 pitch. Up high from Manship. 3 balls and a strike. Ball 4 and the bases are loaded. Now the Indians have activity in the bullpen, but I believe whoever they have left is somebody that was brought up from minor league camp just to help out sort of in an emergency role. But if Manship has any further trouble, they might have to call on somebody else. Bases loaded, 2 out here in the 9th. Indians down 10-5. That's Lewis Head who is warming up in the bullpen. Another watch for live. Jason Beret will be the new Indians bullpen coach this season. And after Kevin Cash takes over as the manager for the Tampa Bay Rays. And Terry Francona said the other day with regards to Kevin Cash and his departure that last year when Carlos Carrasco went to the bullpen, as they got into the season, he said it was Mickey and Kevin Cash in particular who kept going to Terry and said, hey, we got to give this guy another start. We got to put him back in the rotation. And Terry said, I was very hesitant. I didn't want to do it. I was not in favor of it. But he said those 2 guys kept pushing. They kept selling it to me as Mondesi sends one deep to right field, and it is a foul ball.
Well, you can see how that thing just kept blowing out there. I mean, that was, just a matter of fair or foul, not the distance.
But just to wrap up the story,
yes,
it was because of their insistence that Terry finally relented and put Carrasco back in the starting rotation And boy, has that changed the entire complexion of this year's team.
Well, persistence. Those guys, you know, they're working with a kid and they believe it. And, you know, with a manager, you're certainly not there. You trust your guys, your coaches to do their jobs. And they kept beating on them, and it's a good thing they did because it certainly paid dividends.
Fly ball, center field. Naquin makes the catch, and the Royals leave them loaded. We'll go to the bottom of the ninth. 10-5 KC. Of the ninth in Goodyear. Tried down 10-5. Eric Gonzalez to lead it off for Cleveland. Christian Binford trying to finish this one off with his third inning of relief work. This is an old school save.
Yeah. Well, like you said, you saw the man that started those saves back then with a couple innings of relief. Raleigh Fingers.
Yeah.
Back in Mesa yesterday.
Yep. Still got the handlebar working.
Of course he does. That's his. He's got to have that.
Trademark, right?
No doubt. He's had that since the 70s.
He said you don't call him anymore. I said, no. Well, he probably lost your number.
No, Hall of Famers don't talk to me. Haven't seen him in ages. He's out signing. We're out doing games.
That's the difference between the Hall of Famers and the rest of us. Gonzalez, good rip, fouled it back though. 3 balls, 2 strikes. Ball 4, leadoff man aboard. Carlos Moncrief, he singled and scored in the 5th, grounded out his last time up. And a foul out of play to the left. Low and away to even things up. Got some wins, some smog, some dust kicking up. It's another day in the desert.
Yeah.
Swinging a foul tip, held on.
Not good if you have allergies.
No, but they say the next few days it might hit almost 90 degrees.
Yeah. People that live here are thinking, not this soon, please.
Right.
They're still looking for spring. Spring hasn't officially arrived yet.
Rope foul.
Look out.
Next 6 days here, at least here in Goodyear, the low temperature will not be below 88 degrees. I should say the high temperature will not be below 88 degrees. Two count for Moncrief. Audie Siriaco waiting on deck. And Moncrief strikes out. One away. Siriaco strikeout victim, his only time up. And count quickly 0-1. And now it's 0-2. I asked Terry Francona if you've got a hitter that's a very aggressive hitter but isn't having the kind of results that you want to see. How do you not take his aggressiveness away and yet teach him how to be a better overall hitter? He said it's very difficult to do. He said you don't want to take away from what makes them successful. But he said maybe if you've got a guy who's aggressive and he's, not a big contact guy, or if you can swing him, maybe you bat him lower in the order just to get him going. And he said you hope
take
that
the pressure off him.
Yeah, you hope that he grows into having a little more plate discipline, being a little bit better hitter. And he said, that only comes with time. But he said it's you can't force somebody to do something that they're not capable of doing.
I would have asked you if he's aggressive, is he swinging at strikes, or is he going outside the strike zone and being aggressive? Then you got to maybe teach a little patience. But yeah, if you're a guy that you're a good hitter, which you are aggressive, and you can take a little pressure off a guy and move him down in the lineup, it would certainly help.
Michael Martinez checks on a ball down low. Yeah, I think that's the key, is that, as they learn the strike zone, you hope that they grow into it. Swung on and missed.
This kid's got a pretty good changeup, and you could see a lot of the Indians hitters out front. He was able to get a few of their hitters that way. Moncrief struck out on the changeup.
It's almost like you don't believe he's going to throw it again, and he does. And then that fastball gets on you in a hurry if you start sitting back on the changeup.
That's a great pitch, a changeup.
Two. Down low, full count. Gonzalez ready to take off at first. And Martinez with a liner to second ends the ball game. Kansas City wins it by a final today of 10-5. And with that, the Royals go to 9-1 on the spring, while the Indians fall to 3-6 with a tie. 10 runs, 16 hits, 1 error for Kansas City. 5 runs, 12 hits, 1 error for the Indians. Good news for the Tribe is some of the guys that swung the bats well today. Roberto Perez hit a 2-run home run. Michael Bourne at the top of the order had 2 more hits. Ryan Rayburn had a double, but then had to leave the game with a little discomfort in his left knee. We'll check and see how he is doing. Carlos Santana had a couple of hits, including a 2-run homer that got out of the ballpark in the blink of an eye. So that's going to do it. We'll be back St. Patrick's Day.
Yeah, that sounds good. Tuesday afternoon, wear your green.
Indians Reds on Tuesday, St. Patrick's Day, right here on Sports Time Ohio. That's going to wrap up our coverage of today's game. Former partner Rick Manning and all of our hardworking crew and staff here in Goodyear. I'm Matt Underwood. Thanks so much for watching. Stay tuned. Drennan Live is coming up next here on Sports Time Ohio.